Chapter 632. 7, 8, 9, 10. Everyone on the side silently counted the number in their hearts. When the last shot landed, the balloon exploded with a loud bang. The crowd couldn't help but exclaim, "He did it! He did it!" The exclamations were filled with regret and amazement. It was a pity that the beautiful lantern had fallen into someone else's hands, but at the same time, they were happy to be able to see who got the lantern with their own eyes. The stall owner didn't expect this tall and handsome young man to take away the biggest prize in his shop. He was stunned for a few seconds before he regretfully took down the biggest lotus flower lantern and handed it to Hu Chenhuan. Hu Chenhuan took the lotus flower lantern and immediately handed it to Su Yiyan. Unsurprisingly, the surrounding girls exclaimed in envy. A few of them even pinched their boyfriends to vent their dissatisfaction. Su Yiyan still hadn't recovered from the shock of her man being so amazing. She looked at the lantern that was almost in front of her, then looked at Hu Chenhuan's shining eyes, which faintly showed that he was asking for credit. She smiled slightly and took the lantern. "Thank you. It's very beautiful. I'm glad you like it." Hu Chenhuan wanted to pull Su Yiyan away. Su Yiyan grabbed him and smiled faintly. "We'll go play with the lanterns later. Do you want to choose one too?" Hu Chenhuan was stunned. He turned his head and glanced at the stall. The stall owner's hair stood on end. He was afraid that this guy would be so happy that he would buy all the gifts in his shop. Hu Chenhuan's eyes circled around the lanterns and finally fixed on a lotus flower lantern that was similar to Su Yiyan's lantern, but it was a full circle. This lantern only needed 5 shots to take it away. Hu Chenhuan didn't hesitate and shot 5 balloons as fast as he could. He didn't shoot the rest and directly asked the stall owner to give him the lantern. After successfully sending the couple away, the stall owner wiped the sweat off his forehead. He was glad that the two of them did not stay for too long, but at the same time, his heart ached for the first prize that had been taken away. Su Yiyan had only taken one large flower lantern, and it was first come, first served. Because of this, the stall owner lost a portion of his customers. However, due to Hu Chenhuan's perfect accuracy, some of the spectators had the misconception that, "This game is so simple, I can do it too." This, in turn, attracted some customers for the stall owner. After balancing it out, the stall owner's loss was not that great. Su Yiyan happily held the big lantern that her man had won for her. She giggled and asked curiously, "How did you know how to play this? And you're playing so well." "I studied at my uncle's place for a while." "Uncle again?" Su Yiyan's footsteps paused for a moment, but he quickly returned to his original state. He said casually, "You must have practiced for a long time to hit so accurately, right?" "Not bad, 2 or 3 years. 2 or 3 years. These 2 or 3 years were definitely not after his accident. A 12 or 13-year-old boy could have such accuracy after practicing for 2 or 3 years. Most importantly, after so many years, he was still not rusty at all." Su Yiyan looked at him with sparkling eyes and giggled. "You're really good." Hu Chenhuan was praised by her. He stopped in his tracks, and the tips of his ears quickly turned red. He secretly thought that in the dating strategy, occasionally showing your strengths in front of your spouse, girlfriend, without batting an eyelid would make her love you more. It seemed that it made sense. Chapter 633. There were many people at the Lantern Festival. Su Yiyan was holding the big lantern. Not only did she attract a lot of attention, but she was also afraid of being squeezed. After hesitating for a moment, she decided to set off the 2 lanterns first. "The fireworks will start in an hour. I'll go to the moat to set off the lanterns first, and then watch the fireworks." Hu Chenhuan didn't know the process of the Lantern Festival. Naturally, she followed whatever Su Yiyan said. When the two of them happily walked to the moat, there were already a lot of people there. Lanterns were placed into the moat one after another, swaying back and forth, bringing up bits of starlight that reflected in the moat. From afar, it looked like a silver ribbon. Su Yiyen and Su Yiyen didn't bring anything to light a fire, so they could only borrow a light from the people next to them. How do we do this? Su Yiyen looked at Hu Chenhuan holding the lantern with a serious expression as if he was facing a formidable enemy. She almost could not help but laugh out loud. First, light up the lanterns inside, then make a wish. Put them in the moat and let them float away with the current. Can this wish come true? There is such a saying. Su Yiyen looked up at Hu Chenhuan and smiled faintly. Do you want to try? Okay. The two lit the lanterns in their hands, closed their eyes, and made a wish. Su Yiyen only had one wish, so she quickly made it. She secretly opened one eye to look at the person next to her. When she saw that Hu Chenhuan was about to open his eyes, she quickly closed it again. She pretended to open her eyes later than him and pulled him to the moat. Wait. Hu Chenhuan glanced at the slightly high bank and the moat, which she couldn't see the depth of. She took the lantern in Su Yiyen's hand and whispered, I'll go. You wait here. Su Yiyen was stunned for a moment, but she didn't refuse. She took out her phone and wanted to take a picture of this scene for her collection. However, as soon as she took out her phone and pointed the camera in Hu Chenhuan's direction, a message automatically popped up. Su Yiyen frowned. She clicked on it and found that there were 999 plus private messages in her personal account. Su Yiyen's heart skipped a beat. His first reaction was that something had happened. She clicked on it and found that most of the recent messages were comforting her or apologizing to her, saying that they had accidentally hurt her by following the crowd and that they really shouldn't have done so. They hoped that she could forgive them. She scrolled through the internet and found that most of the comments between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. were scolding her. They scolded her for being shameless and ungrateful for taking advantage of other people's popularity, plagiarizing other people's work, and even claiming to be a thief. Plagiarizing the results of others? Su Yiyen was confused and simply went online to check his name. Only then did he roughly understand the ins and outs of the matter. Su Yiyen's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. She didn't expect that so many things had happened on the internet while she was sleeping. After the Ancient Earth Cultural Research Institute came forward, the Hai restaurant quickly responded. The person involved, who was the chef of the branch that made the fish-flavored shredded pork with fish, was officially fired. They also permanently removed the fish-flavored shredded pork with fish from the shelves. They also apologized to Su Yiyen, who was involved in this matter. Su Yiyen frowned slightly. Her intuition told her that this matter was not simple. Sure enough, she found a private message from the Hai restaurant among the numerous private messages. This private message was sincerely worded. First, they apologized to her for the branch manager's matter and offered to give her some compensation. Then, perhaps because she didn't reply, they sent another message, saying that they hoped to cooperate with her. It was a win-win situation. Chapter 634. No matter what, Hai restaurant was still a big restaurant. Although its reputation had been damaged due to this incident, its reputation had declined. The main store reacted quickly by cutting off its tail like a gecko and quickly stabilized most of the customers who were wavering. For such a big restaurant, if an ordinary streamer or even a restaurant manager received such an olive branch, they might have agreed. However, Su Yiyen was not an ordinary streamer, and developing the restaurant was not her main purpose. Instead, Hai restaurant's goodwill made her feel like a weasel paying a visit to a chicken. She unconsciously raised her guard. Why are you in a daze? When Hu Chenhuan came back, he saw Su Yiyen holding her phone in a daze. Nothing. Su Yiyen quickly put away her phone and naturally held Hu Chenhuan's hand. She did not want these messy things to disturb their date today. Have you put it away? Hu Chenhuan nodded and raised his hand to point in a direction. It's over there. Su Yiyen's lantern was too big. Even in the middle of the densely packed lanterns, it was still a crane in a flock of chickens. It could be seen at a glance. The two continued to walk forward hand in hand. Hu Chenhuan suddenly asked, "What did you wish for just now?" "Then what did you wish for just now?" Hua Chenhuan was silent for a moment and said in a muffled voice, I asked first. Su Yiyen was a little surprised when she heard his words. One had to know that this person did not have a temper before. Every time she asked, he would obediently answer. This time, he actually talked back. Su Yiyen pondered for a moment. In the end, she did not compromise. She avoided his eyes and said, well, if the wish comes out, it won't come true. No, no. Hua Chenhuan could not help but laugh. He acknowledged her shameless behavior and did not ask any more questions. Walking out of the moat, Su Yiyen saw a candy stall from afar. This kind of craft candy stall had always been the most lively place in the Lantern Festival. Even if the price was more expensive, there were still many people who wanted something new and flocked to it. At this moment, there were already 10 to 20 people in front of the stall. It was quite a spectacular sight. Hua Chenhuan's eyes flickered when she saw this. She asked in a low voice, do you want to eat that? There are so many people here. Forget it. Wait for me here. Hua Chenhuan handed the tiger lantern to Su Yiyen and turned around to walk towards the stall. Su Yiyen opened his mouth and wanted to stop him, but he was a step too late. He could only stand there with the two animal lanterns in his hand, secretly anxious. Of course, Hua Chenhuan wasn't stupid enough to line up. The customer at the front of the line had already started making the sugar figurine, so Hua Chenhuan spent money to buy a seat from the second customer. The customer in the second row took the money and went to the back of the line. He didn't force himself to take up an extra seat, so the people behind him didn't object. Su Yiyen saw this scene and felt a little relieved. She obediently stood in place and waited for him to come back. Hua Chenhuan was tall and handsome. When he bought the seat, he was very generous. In an instant, he attracted the attention of many girls around him. When he got the two lifelike sugar figurines and was about to go back, a girl suddenly stood in front of him with a blushing face. Under the encouragement of her friends, she shyly handed over the lantern in her hand. Su Yiyen was bored from waiting. When she looked up and saw this scene, her face turned green on the spot. What was wrong with this woman? Was she trying to steal her man in front of her? Chapter 635. Hua Chenhuan was also stunned by this sudden turn of events. Looking at the lantern in the other party's hand, she immediately remembered what Su Yiyen had said before she left. Her eyes turned cold as she said coldly, "You're blocking my way." The shy girl's smile suddenly froze. Her eyes widened as she looked at the person in front of her in disbelief. However, she realized that the other party didn't even look at her. Instead, he walked to the side and walked away without any hesitation. The surrounding raffles gazes fell on the girl like sharp thorns. The girl's face turned green. In the end, she couldn't take it anymore and ran away while covering her face. Su Yiyen's expression became better. Just as she was about to go up to her, she was surrounded by a few hooligans. "Sister, are you alone? It's so boring to be alone at such a lively lantern festival. Do you want to join us?" Su Yiyen's face darkened. She avoided the leader's outstretched hand and sneered, "I'm sorry, but I'm married." Su Yiyen even raised her hand to reveal the diamond ring on her finger. It was so dazzling that it almost blinded their eyes. As expected, the few of them were stunned. However, the leader still had some doubts. He frowned and said, "Sister, if you don't want to, you don't have to use such an excuse." "All right then, I'll stand up straight." "I don't want to. Please don't disturb my date with my husband." "Thank you." The faces of the men changed. "Your husband?" As soon as they finished speaking, they heard a frosty voice ask from behind them, "What do you want to do to my wife?" The faces of the men suddenly changed. They turned around and saw Hua Chenhuan's face, which was as black as the bottom of a pot. Hua Chenhuan was still holding two sugar figurines in his hand. Logically speaking, he should look very down to earth. However, the aura around him was too terrifying. It made people feel that he wasn't holding sugar figurines, but a machete that could cut all of them into pieces at any time. The leader of the men swallowed hard. At least he had some eyesight. He said embarrassedly, "Sorry to disturb you. We'll leave immediately. We'll leave immediately." After that, he didn't care about the others' reactions. He turned around and ran. The few people who came with him were stunned for a moment before they hurriedly ran after him. Although he had left, Hu Qinhuan's face was still dark. Su Yiyan took the initiative to step forward and asked with a smile, "Where are my sugar figurines?" Hu Qinhuan took the woman's sugar figurine out, but Su Yiyan waved her hand and took the man's sugar figurine. This master's skills are not bad. The sugar figurines that he drew are similar to the two of us. Although Hu Qinhuan agreed with Su Yiyan's words, she was still sulking and did not say anything. Su Yiyan was annoyed and amused at the same time. She helplessly coaxed, "All right, don't be angry. I didn't even care about that woman's confession to you." "A woman confessed to me?" Su Yiyan was stunned and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Didn't a woman hand you a lantern just now? Isn't that a confession?" Hu Qinhuan furrowed his brows and said with disdain, "I ignored her. I ignored them just now as well. Look, I even showed off our wedding rings." Su Yiyan even waved her hand to let him see the diamond ring on her finger. Then, as if she thought of something, she pouted and muttered, "You should also show off our wedding rings just now and let that woman know how difficult it is and back off." Su Yiyan saw that her husband had asked the sugar figurine master to make 2 sugar figurines, one male and one female. She didn't believe that woman couldn't guess that Hu Qinhuan was already taken. Chapter 636. She knew that he had someone, but she still came up to him and confessed with a shy and timid face. She was most familiar with this kind of white lotus. Hu Qinhuan looked at Su Yiyan's burning eyes, and the anger in his heart miraculously subsided a lot. He asked, "Are you jealous?" "So what?" Su Yiyan glared at Hu Qinhuan fiercely, showing her steel teeth and threatening, "You attract bees and butterflies. Next time, I will, what will you do?" "I will lock you up and not let anyone see you." Hu Qinhuan's eyes flashed and disappeared. "Okay." Su Yiyan was stunned. "What?" "I'm fine." Hu Qinhuan approached Su Yiyan and held her in his arms. He lowered his head and pressed against her forehead, making it impossible for her to escape. "If something like this happens again, you will lock me up and not let anyone see me. On the other hand, if something like this happens again, I will also hide you and not let anyone covet you." Su Yiyan looked at his serious eyes in a daze. Her intuition told her that he was not joking. He really wanted to hide her. Su Yiyan's face suddenly turned red. She lowered her eyes and avoided Hu Qinhuan's eyes, not daring to look at him. She missed the dangerous look on Hu Qinhuan's face as he asked, "Are you scared?" "Who's afraid of who?" "It's settled. If something like this happens again, I will lock you up." Su Yiyan was ambitious. She felt that compared to her, Hu Qinhuan was more likely to be coveted. If Hu Qinhuan was not afraid, what was there for her to be afraid of? Hu Qinhuan showed a smile again. "Okay." Su Yiyan, who didn't realize that he had fallen into a wolf's den, took a deep breath. While eating the candy, he smiled faintly and said, "Let's not talk about this. I just heard the sound of fireworks. Let's hurry over. We won't be able to see it if we're late." Su Yiyan pulled Hu Qinhuan and walked forward. The place where the fireworks were set off was not far from the lantern fair. However, the positions closer to the fireworks had long been occupied by the foreigners who came to join in the fun. Even if they went there now, it would be useless. They could not squeeze to the front. Su Yiyan brought Hu Qinhuan to the other side of the hill. This was the place she and old Master Cheng had accidentally discovered. Not only could they see the fireworks from here, but there were also stone stools on the mountain path that could accommodate 2 people. "This place has a good view, right?" Not only can you see the fireworks, but when the fireworks show ends, you can also see the stars. I was the one who discovered it. If Su Yiyen had a tail, it would probably be wagging. This place is great. Su Yiyen smiled contentedly. She leaned on Hu Qinhuan's shoulder and focused on watching the fireworks. When they came up, the fireworks had already been set off for a while. Fortunately, the truly beautiful fireworks had only just started. Other than the most common flower-shaped fireworks, there were also tree-shaped ones, waterfalls, and even one or two animal-shaped fireworks. There was everything that one could think of. It was too beautiful to behold. The fireworks went on for about half an hour before it stopped. When the entire fireworks show ended, it was only a little over 9 o'clock. The two of them didn't want to go back so early, so they sat on the stone stools and looked at the stars for a while. Su Yiyen leaned on Hu Qinhuan's shoulder and looked at the twinkling stars in the night sky. She couldn't help but reminisce. In the past, every time I went out to look at the stars with Grandpa, he would always follow me. Every star we went up to was a person who had already passed away. My grandparents and grandmother are all watching me from above. If I'm not doing well, they'll be sad too. Chapter 637. After finishing her words, Su Yiyen keenly felt the change in Hu Qinhuan's expression. His originally soft face became stiff for a moment. Silence spread between the two. After a long time, Su Yiyen heard the person beside her reply in a hoarse voice, "You're right." Su Yiyen smiled slightly and took the initiative to hold Hu Qinhuan's slightly cold hand. She asked tentatively, "Do you believe in reincarnation?" "I didn't before, but for you, I'm willing to believe." Su Yiyen's heart trembled. For a moment, she almost thought that Hu Qinhuan knew everything. "Why? This lifetime is too short. I still want to be with you in the next lifetime." Su Yiyen breathed a sigh of relief and felt funny at the same time. "You haven't spent much in this lifetime, but you're thinking about the next lifetime?" "I'm not only thinking about the next lifetime, but also about many lifetimes in the future. According to your method, won't I hang myself on your tree for all my lifetimes?" Hu Qinhuan's tone was a little dangerous. "If you don't hang yourself on my tree, which tree do you want to hang yourself on?" Su Yiyen curled her lips and did not intend to answer this question. "In fact, I've always been curious." "What? Why did you fall in love with me?" Hu Qinhuan was stunned and looked at Su Yiyen with a little surprise. "Don't you remember?" He had always thought that the reason why Su Yiyen suddenly wanted to marry him when they broke off the engagement was that she remembered Lianqiu. Now it seemed that it was not. Su Yiyen was also confused. Remember? Remember what? She had always thought that Hu Qinhuan's love for her in the early days should be one-sided peeping and secret love. Now, listening to his words, it seemed that they had crossed paths before, and this intersection was many years ago. Did I meet Hu Qinhuan at that time? How did they meet? What happened? Su Yiyen couldn't recall what had happened at that time, and he was extremely curious. However, at this moment, Hu Qinhuan turned around and held Su Yiyen's hand. His large palm effortlessly wrapped around Su Yiyen's hand, which was one size larger than his. He smiled faintly and said, "Wait until you remember." It didn't matter. No matter what the reason was, she was already his. She couldn't run away. Hu Qinhuan, on the other hand, did not take it too seriously. Su Yiyen, on the other hand, was extremely curious and looked at him pitifully. However, this time, Hu Qinhuan seemed determined to make her remember by herself. She turned a blind eye to Su Yiyen's pleas. Su Yiyen was a little disappointed that this trick didn't work. She secretly planned to go back and ask her mother. Maybe she could find some clues. The night before, they watched the fireworks and stars a little late. The next day, Su Yiyen also woke up a little late. When she came out, she saw that the few old grandpas who came to their house yesterday were really here today. They were all fishing with old Master Cheng in the backyard. Old Master Cheng's face was dark and he didn't say a word. Grandpa Li, on the other hand, kept teasing him. Old man, why are you so narrow-minded? Didn't I say a few words that you didn't want to hear? You actually blacklisted me. Hurry up and add me back. Hurry up and add me back. Old Master Cheng glared at him, his face full of displeasure. You want me to add you back? Do you think I don't care about my face? Pfft. Su Yiyan and Hu Qinhuan had just walked into the backyard when they heard this. They couldn't help but burst out laughing. Chapter 638. Grandpa Li didn't notice them. Grandpa Cheng's words made him uncomfortable. He muttered, I've already humbled myself and followed you around. Don't you have enough face for me? Grandpa Cheng couldn't help but glare at him again. He waved his hand like he was driving a duck and waved him away. Go, 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 go. I'm fishing and you're nagging on the side. You're scaring away my fish. Grandpa Li felt wronged and depressed. He said, with your skills, even if I wasn't here, you still wouldn't be able to catch anything. You still have the nerve to push the blame to me. Grandpa Cheng's face darkened. You what? I didn't do anything. For the sake of better freeloading in the future, he endured it. Su Yiyan watched them bicker with relish before walking over with Hu Qinhuan. Grandpa, Grandpa Li, Grandpa Zhang, Grandpa Dang, Grandpa Fan, are you fishing? Yan Yan is here. When they saw Su Yiyan, they immediately put on smiles and looked at Su Yiyan with amiable eyes. This is Yan Yan's girl, right? Yesterday, they came and went in a hurry, so they didn't pay much attention to Hu Qinhuan, who came back with Su Yiyan. Now that they saw Hu Qinhuan and Su Yiyan appear together, they couldn't pretend that they didn't see anything. He's really good-looking and tall. Yan Yan and him look like a good match. What does this guy's family do? Yan Yan's grandmother used to be a famous beauty in our area. Among her generation, Yan Yan looks the most like her. Many boys around here like her. It's your blessing to be able to marry her. You have to cherish her. Do we need you to do that? Among us, Old Man Cheng is the most protective. You better behave yourself. If you dare to let Yan Yan down, Old Man Cheng will skin you alive. Hu Qinhuan listened to the joking warnings of the old men. She knew that these people had a good relationship with Old Master Cheng. They had probably watched Su Yiyan grow up, so their warnings might not be a joke. He said good-naturedly, Grandpas, don't worry. I know how good Yan Yan is. I won't let anyone bully her. Hu Qinhuan's submissive attitude in front of her elders made Su Yiyan feel pity for her. She hastily defended her and said, Grandpa Deng, don't be blind. My grandfather is not that fierce. My Qinhuan is honest. Don't bully him. If these words were heard by Hu Qinhuan's subordinates, they would probably be taken aback. Their boss, young master, was honest. If he was honest, there would be no dishonest person in this world. Old Man Cheng isn't fierce. Grandpa Li was stunned for a moment. Then, he said mercilessly, ha 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 ha, that's probably the biggest joke I've heard this year. Old Man Cheng was so angry that he hit him with his fishing rod. Of course I'm not fierce in front of Yan Yan. Don't you know why I'm fierce to you? If it were me, with your shameless temper, I'd only be fierce to you. I'm already being extremely benevolent by not hitting you. Grandpa Li, who had already been hit by the rod, was speechless. You've already hit me. Are you trying to lie through your teeth by not hitting me? The other grandpas ignored the two old men's bickering. Instead, they teased Su Yiyan. TSK, TSK, TSK. Look at Yan Yan. He's helping an outsider. I only said a few words, and he's already defending her. Isn't that right? Why else would a son not listen to his mother when he's old? Poor old men like us. We're always thinking about our seniors, but we're still being despised. Sigh. Chapter 639. Su Yiyan blushed at their teasing. She wanted to retort, but she didn't know what to say. Hu Chenhuan smiled and held Su Yiyen's hand tightly. Yan Yan didn't mean that. She just doesn't like the fact that you're treating her like a child. You don't believe in her choice and judgment. Su Yiyen was stunned. She quickly gave Hu Chenhuan a way out. Yes, I'm not a child anymore. Grandpa Deng, Grandpa Zhang, don't treat me like a child. Okay. Our Yan Yan is a big girl now. She's not a child anymore. Even so, they still spoke in a coaxing tone. Su Yiyen didn't argue with them. She walked around the pond and asked, "Did you guys catch any fish today?" Grandpa Fan said happily, yes. Yan Yan, come to Grandpa Fan. Grandpa Fan caught a big fish today. Grandpa Deng didn't want to be outdone. How is your fish big? Mine is really big. It's at least 4 or 5 pounds. Su Yiyen rushed over to take a look. Sure enough, there was a fish in each of their buckets. Grandpa Deng's was slightly bigger. Grandpa Fan's was a little bigger, but it was still about 3 or 4 pounds. As for the others, Grandpa, Grandpa Cheng's face turned red. He straightened his neck and said, I also caught a fish today. Su Yiyen's eyes lit up. Really? Where is it? It's here. Old Master Ching pointed at his bucket weakly. Su Yiyen took a closer look. She saw a fingernail-sized fry lying in the dark blue bucket. Ha. Before Su Yiyen could say anything, Grandpa Li couldn't help but laugh. You're just a fry. You're not embarrassed to say you caught a fish. Why don't you just set it free? It'll be worth it if I catch it when it's bigger. Old Master Cheng was humiliated by Grandpa Li. His face was as dark as the bottom of a pot. He retorted mercilessly, no matter what, it's better than someone who didn't catch a single one. Come on, let's hurt each other. Sure enough, when Grandpa Li heard his words, he immediately covered his pierced heart and shut his mouth. When Old Master Cheng saw that Grandpa Li was speechless, the corners of his lips curled up and quickly straightened. He stared at the fry in the bucket gloomily. Hu Chenhuan could tell that the old man was unhappy. She rolled her eyes and suddenly asked, Yan Yan, didn't you want to get another pet? Su Yiyen seemed to have woken up from a dream. She hurriedly nodded and said, Oh, yes, I want to raise another pet. Aya, this fish that Grandpa caught is really beautiful. It's bright red and golden, just like a koi. Why don't I just take it back and raise it as a pet? Once it grew up, it could also be eaten, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. The grandpas on the side were speechless. What the f***ck? Grandpa Li was also stunned. When he came back to his senses, he was as sour as a lemon. Look at Grandpa Li's granddaughter and son-in-law, then look at his own unfilial sons and grandsons. The father and son of the Li family, whose reputation was ruined every day, sneered. Who's talking bad about us behind our backs again? Old Master Ching didn't expect that the person who helped him out in the end would be Hu Chenhuan. He raised his eyebrows and gave her a look of praise. Hu Chenhuan replied with a polite smile, concealing his achievements and fame. Chapter 640. Since Yan Yan likes it, let's find a water tank and put the fish in the yard. Okay. Su Yiyen nodded. Then she seemed to think of something. Her eyes turned and fell precisely on the 2 fish in the 2 grandfathers' buckets. Grandpa Deng and Grandpa Fan's fish are quite big. Why don't we have some boiled fish for lunch? I couldn't treat you grandfathers to a meal yesterday, so I can make up for it today. I just don't know if you grandfathers would be willing to do me the honor. As soon as Su Yiyen said this, their eyes lit up. We're willing. Anyway, we have nothing to do, so we can take advantage of this opportunity to gather. Yes. It's rare for Yan Yan to come back. How can we not do him the honor? We can take advantage of this opportunity to taste Yan Yan's cooking. You don't know how good your cooking skills are these few months that old man Cheng has been talking to us about. It has made us old men drool. That's right, that's right. This rotten old man is very bad. He knows that we can't eat it, but he still deliberately wants us to eat it. Su Yiyen listened to their complaints about her grandfather and couldn't help but laugh. Then these 2 fish were bought by me and the 2 grandfathers. By what? As soon as she finished speaking, Grandpa Cheng interrupted her with dissatisfaction. It's just 2 fish. They're eating and drinking for free in our family. How can they have the nerve to ask you for money? Su Yiyen disagreed and called out to him. Grandpa Dang and Grandpa Fan agreed with Grandpa Cheng's words. The fish looked rare, but even if they brought it home, the kitchen staff at home might not be able to make it as delicious as Su Yiyen's. In this way, they were the ones who had the advantage. Old man Cheng is right. These fish were caught in your backyard. It's your family's fish. The 2 of us old men aren't down to the point where we have to haggle with someone of your generation for 2 fish. Besides, we have big appetites. These 2 fish may not be enough for us. It looks like we're the ones who have the advantage. Since they were already like this, Su Yiyen could no longer insist. Old Master Chen glanced at the 2 of them with appreciation. At least he didn't mind them coming over to freeload. Then, he turned his gaze to Grandpa Li and said meaningfully, as for you. Although he didn't finish his words, his eyes were clearly mocking him. At least he contributed 2 fish. What about you? He was just a freeloader. Grandpa Li's heart was pierced by an arrow once again. Heart, do you think I care about your free food? It's all because your granddaughter's culinary skills are too good. After trying it once, everything else is tasteless. Moreover, other than Old Man Fan and Old Man Fan, he wasn't the only one who didn't contribute. How could they pick on him alone? They were really going too far. Grandpa Li's heart was full of anger, but he couldn't say anything because he was in the wrong. He could only sulk alone. Grandpa Dang and Grandpa Fan, who had made some basic contributions, became more confident and asked Su Yiyen about the spicy boiled fish just now. Yen, was your spicy boiled fish good? Was it steamed, braised, or made into soup? Was it as good as the braised food you made yesterday? Grandpa Fan couldn't help but swallow. Yen, the braised food you made yesterday was really good. My eldest son's grandson usually has to be forced to eat. Last night, with the braised food, he actually drank an extra bowl of porridge. He didn't even need to be forced to eat. Chapter 641. Yes. Yesterday, when I took it home, my family immediately chased after me to fight for it. If I hadn't acted fast, I'm afraid they wouldn't have left a single piece of it for me. When Grandpa Li heard Grandpa Dang's words, he immediately thought of himself who had fought with his son and grandson yesterday. Alas, in front of delicious food, this plastic grandfather-grandson relationship and plastic father-son relationship. Although the braised food is delicious, it's easy to get heaty if you eat too much. Boiled fish isn't steamed or braised. Although there's some soup, it can also be eaten with rice. Compared to the braised food, each has its own merits. Everyone has different tastes, so naturally, the dishes they like are different. I'll cook more dishes later. More dishes, more choices. They didn't have many requirements for what to eat, as long as it was delicious. Hearing Su Yiyen's words, he smiled and nodded. Okay. Then, we'll have to trouble you, Yen. We're fine with anything. We're not picky. Old Master Cheng's eyebrows twitched. You still have the nerve to be picky. Boiled fish had a lot of processes. In order to make it in time for lunch, Su Yiyen immediately took the 2 fish and left. When he entered the kitchen, he found that Hu Chenhuan had followed him in. Why did you come in? I'll be your assistant. You? Su Yiyen stared at him in surprise for a long time, as if she wanted to see a trace of a joke from his face. Unfortunately, she was disappointed. Hu Chenhuan was very serious. He didn't seem to be joking at all. I have to take care of you before. He really didn't know how to cook, but he could help. Su Yiyan understood what he meant. Amused, she felt a little warm. Thinking that she didn't plan to broadcast these days, it wasn't a big deal to have one more person to help in the kitchen, but Su Yiyan looked up and down at Hu Chenhuan. This person probably hadn't even entered the kitchen a few times. He hadn't even touched anything. He really didn't do anything. It was okay to let him help you manage the company and talk about cooperation, but to let him help you cook, Su Yiyan weighed the pros and cons and chose the simplest thing for him. Help me wash some rice. It's in the rice vat over there. There are a lot of people today, so we have to cook more. That box inside, 4 boxes should be enough. Hu Chenhuan accepted the task and nodded solemnly. She picked up the pot and walked towards the rice vat. Su Yiyan felt that washing the rice should be a simple task, so he didn't care too much and began to kill the fish. With the enhancement of his knife skills, Su Yiyan quickly removed the scales and cut open the belly of the 2 fishes. However, he found that there was no movement behind him. He turned around and saw Hu Chenhuan standing in front of the faucet with a big pot of rice. She was about to squeeze some detergent into it. Wait! Su Yiyan exclaimed and pulled Hu Chenhuan back before she could squeeze the detergent into the pot. Huh? Hu Chenhuan was shocked by Su Yiyan's shout. Her face was blank. Su Yiyan took a deep breath and felt that his heart was about to jump out. Rice can't be washed with detergent. Just wash it with water 3 or 4 times to get rid of the dregs inside. Hu Chenhuan was silent for a while and was a little worried. Can it be washed clean like this? Yes, yes. The rice isn't dirty. Washing it a few times is enough. Since Su Yiyan had already said so, Hu Chenhuan didn't continue to argue. She carefully added water and began to rub the rice. Looking at how serious he was, he probably had to rub half of the rice before he could cook it. Su Yiyan. Forget it, forget it. It's rare for him to be in such a good mood. He can wash it however he wants. Chapter 642. Su Yiyan's eyes were full of smiles as she watched a certain someone's clumsy action of washing the rice. With this lesson in mind, Su Yiyan did not dare to give Hu Chenhuan any complicated tasks. She forced him to wash the vegetables in the kitchen for the whole morning. Su Yiyan observed Hu Chenhuan's movements while cutting the 2 fish into even thin slices. It was not that Hu Chenhuan had never seen Su Yiyan display her knife skills in the live broadcast room, but watching through the screen and watching it live felt different. Moreover, Su Yiyan would usually prepare the ingredients in advance before starting the live broadcast. There were not many opportunities to watch her display her knife skills in the live broadcast room. Now that she saw it, she was a little stunned. Su Yiyan finally finished the several kilograms of fish slices. She turned her head to look at Hu Chenhuan worriedly. She was caught off guard by the other party's surprised gaze. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Even though Hu Chenhuan was caught peeking, a look of embarrassment and guilt flashed across his face. Nothing. Is there anything else I can help you with? You finished washing the vegetables? Su Yiyan leaned over to take a look at the various vegetables that were not only washed but also neatly folded. TSK, this outstanding person really learned everything quickly. She was clearly worried about the pot of rice just a moment ago, but she was already proficient in it. There's nothing else for the time being. If you're bored, you can go out first. You can walk around, or you can go to Grandpa's place to watch them fish. Hu Chenhuan said without thinking, I want to watch you cook. Su Yiyan was stunned and blushed slightly. There's a lot of smoke in the kitchen. I'm far away, but you're close. The underlying meaning was that she was not afraid even though she was so close. She was just standing on the side and watching. How could she be worse than her? All right then, Hu Chenhuan insisted, and Su Yiyan did not continue to persuade her. Before cooking the spicy boiled fish, Su Yiyen took out the fish fillet and deep-fried it as usual. After that, he cooked the fish fillets and various vegetables until it was fragrant. Among the two fish, one of them had a particularly large head. Su Yiyen seemed to think for a while as he processed the fish. In the end, he decided to leave the head of this fish alone to make steamed fish head with diced hot red peppers. Boiled fish and braised fish were both relatively heaty dishes. Su Yiyen was worried that the elderly wouldn't know how to control themselves after eating for the first time and would easily get heaty, so he stewed a pot of dendrobium stewed fresh abalone and boiled some Ophiophagon bamboo leaf tea to reduce heatiness. Considering that there were more people eating at home today, Su Yiyen's dishes were much more sumptuous than yesterday's. Other than the steamed fish head with diced hot red peppers, spicy boiled fish, and braised fish, he also made some relatively light dishes like tofu tossed with scallions, mu shu pork, dry stir-fried green beans, and wine-fermented meatballs. Bursts of delicious food drifted out of the kitchen, attracting the stomachs of the elderly who were pretending to continue fishing in the backyard. They became more and more absent-minded. When it was finally time for lunch, the sound of shouting came from the front. The few of them immediately threw away the fishing rods in their hands and rushed forward. They were afraid that if they fell behind, they would not be able to eat good food. As soon as the few of them sat down, dishes that they had never seen before came out of the kitchen like flowing water. They were placed in front of them, exuding a strong aroma. Gulp, the few elderly who did not eat much in the morning could not help but swallow their saliva. When they realized what they had done, they subconsciously looked at the few people beside them with embarrassed expressions. Chapter 643. This was the scene that Su Yiyen and Hu Qinhuan saw when they came out of the kitchen. A few old people, whose ages added up to a few hundred years old, surrounded a large table of dishes and looked at each other in dismay. Without the two of them present, no one dared to be the first to pick up their chopsticks. Their eager looks looked a little pitiful. Su Yiyen laughed and turned to look at Hu Qinhuan. Then, she quickly walked to old Master Cheng's side. "Grandpa, everyone is here. It's time to eat." Old Master Cheng was slightly startled. He knew that his granddaughter was giving him face and letting him be the host. He immediately straightened his back and coughed lightly. "All right, since everyone is here, let's eat while it's hot." How could the others not understand the grandfather and granddaughter's actions? They couldn't help but feel sour in their hearts. But soon, they weren't in the mood to admire the excellence of other people's children. The large table of dishes in front of them had already attracted all their attention. Although Su Yiyen made a lot of dishes, there were also many people eating together today. At first, they were still thinking about their status as guests and didn't dare to be too presumptuous. Later, as they ate, they revealed their true colors and started arguing with old Master Cheng at the table. Like children, after quarreling for a while, they began to snatch each other's food. "If you snatch one from me, I'll snatch one from you." Su Yiyen's dishes were already delicious. After fighting with all their might, the few people who ate the food were flushed red and almost caused a scene in the martial arts school. Su Yiyen seemed to be used to this. She pulled Hu Qinhuan to sit at the side and watched the scuffle while adding food for Hu Qinhuan. "Try this spicy boiled fish. The meat is fresh and there are fewer bones. It's better than the ones we've eaten before. It's not good to eat the same thing all the time. Next time, I'll get someone to make some pickled vegetables. It's also pretty good to make spicy boiled fish." Su Yiyen thought for a while. "Or we can make spicy boiled fish, sweet and sour fish, fish hot pot. Anyway, even if it's the same ingredients, there are many ways to cook them. We'll eat them one by one and see which one you like." Hu Qinhuan replied in a low voice. She then pursed her lips and whispered, "Lobster." "Lobster?" Su Yiyen was stunned for a moment, but she quickly realized that he was asking about other ways to make lobsters. She smiled faintly and said, "There are many ways to make lobsters. Other than the spicy lobster that I've made for you a few times before, you can also make 13 spice lobster, minced garlic lobster, steamed lobster, and oil stick lobster. If you're curious, I can also try making drunken prawns, soy sauce prawns. Su Yiyen was busy explaining the 108 ways to cook lobsters to her man. However, she saw him looking at her with a subtle expression and giving her a meaningful look. Su Yiyen blinked and turned his head to look. Suddenly, he met the bright eyes of the people at the table. So that ugly lobster can be cooked in so many ways? My family's chef only knows how to boil it in water and then scoop it up. Although it's still edible, it always feels like something is missing. Yes, yes, yes. It's the same for my family. I've only eaten it once and haven't eaten it since. Now that I heard what Yan Yan said, I suddenly want to eat it. How about, they looked at each other and said in unison, let's eat this tomorrow. Su Yiyen. You guys are really not polite at all. Old Master Cheng's face darkened. Eat what? Do you really think my family's Yan Yan is your family's chef? Just this meal. After eating, scram. If you dare to have any ideas about my family's Yan Yan again, I'll hammer you to death. Chapter 644. The others weren't happy to hear that. Old Man Cheng, that's too much. How could we possibly think of Yan Yan as a cook? We're just curious. We're curious about the food Yan Yan ate just now. Yes, yes, yes. We're just curious, that's all. Grandpa Li wasn't as reserved as the others. He immediately exposed Old Man Cheng's intentions. Don't think I don't know. You're acting all high and mighty because you want to eat all the food for yourself. So what if I eat all the food for myself? Yan Yan is my granddaughter, not yours. Why should she cook for you? Old Man Cheng, I knew you were angry, but I didn't expect you to be this angry. The elders instantly started fighting again. Su Yiyen managed to escape. She exchanged a look with Hu Qinhuan and heaved a huge sigh of relief. Although they were arguing, they didn't slow down their eating speed at all. In less than half an hour, the table's worth of food was all in their stomachs. They were so full that the elders in their 70s and 80s had to help each other out for a walk to digest the food. That night, Grandpa Li's son came home and looked at his father with a complicated expression. He asked tentatively, Dad, did you stay at Uncle Cheng's for lunch today? Grandpa Li raised his eyebrows and said fiercely, so what if I did? Do I have to report to you that I'm going to eat at someone else's house? That's not what I meant. Grandpa Li glared at him. Then what do you mean? I just want to ask if you can bring me along the next time you go. Grandpa Li. Grandpa Li's eldest grandson's eyes lit up when he heard his father's words. Unwilling to be outdone, he said, I want it too, I want it too. Bring me along too. Grandpa Li. Your father, grandfather, had to give up his pride and put in a lot of effort just to get a free meal. How could he bring along a bunch of useless burdens like you? Dream on. Get lost. The same thing was happening in the other grandfathers' homes as well, almost leading to the tragedy of a few of them being murdered. After the Pengxi incident that day, He restaurant went to Su Yiyen 2 or 3 more times. Almost all of them were asking for cooperation. Of course, they were ignored by Su Yiyen. Apart from that, the Ancient Earth Cultural Research Institute also tried to send Su Yiyen a private message. They wanted to discuss cultural matters with her, but Su Yiyen declined. She was very clear about her own abilities. Most of the skills that the system gave her were in the field of medicine, and these ancient books were just incidental. If she were to really communicate with these professionals, she was afraid that she would be showing off her skills in front of an expert. However, their search reminded Su Yiyen of another matter. After Luo Baogang took over Red Brave, the production crew had already started working overtime to prepare the props and audition for the actors. At this stage, in Su Yiyen's company, only Ning Chirue had unexpectedly won the role of the second male lead. The other main roles were still vacant for the time being, especially the male and female lead roles. Shui Kaiwei and Luo Weibing had already booked the male and female lead roles in Fantasy Feast, so it was impossible for them to take on this role. It was not that there were no talents in this field in the company, but there were not many of them. She did not know who would benefit in the end. However, no matter who was chosen in the end, according to Luo Baogang and his wife, it was best for the female lead to learn the basics from Madame Luo for a few months before filming the parts that involved professional skills. Chapter 645. Of course, that was not the case. In the next few months, the crew would simply stop filming and wait for her to finish learning. Instead, they would move all the professional drama-related scenes to the back and let the female lead film other scenes first. She would learn as she filmed. But this meant that she would be very busy and tired in the next few months. At the very least, they had to choose a talented talent who was hardworking, could endure hardships, and had acting skills. Su Yiyen could not help with Luo Baogang, but Su Yiyen still had a professional drama book that she had previously drawn. However, although she had drawn this book, it was something provided by the system and could not be taken out directly from the system backpack. Su Yiyen had no choice but to spend a few days copying the contents of the book and sending it to Song Linghua. To the outside world, it was only a copy of the book that was treasured at home. It was not easy to take it out, so she could only make a copy for her. Even so, Song Linghua was very surprised when she received it. She secretly rejoiced that she had accepted the role of consultant for the crew. Otherwise, such a priceless treasure would have fallen into someone else's hands. Song Linghua was not someone who did not know how to return the favor. After taking Su Yiyen's book, she immediately said that when the female lead was decided, she would teach her well and would not let down the book. Su Yiyen and Song Linghua stayed in the Qing family for about a week before old Master Jiang brought Jiang Qingwang and Jiang Qingrun over. It just so happened that old Master Jiang's friend's residence was not far from the Qing family's residence. They could reach it in about half an hour by car. Considering that there was a pregnant woman at home, it was not convenient for the Jiang family to come over. Su Yiyen simply set the treatment location at the house where the Jiang family was temporarily staying. If Su Yiyen wanted to go, Hu Qinhua naturally had to follow. After all, a certain brat had previously wanted to give his life to Su Yiyen in front of them. If he did not go with them, what if his wife was bullied there? When Su Yiyen and Ran arrived, the first person who ran out to greet them was a 15 or 16-year-old brother with a young and delicate face. At first, Su Yiyen thought that he was old Master Jiang's friend, the child of the real owner of the house, or a relative of the Jiang family. Then, the child reached out and touched his own hair, looking at Su Yiyen as if he was asking for credit. You. Su Yiyen's mind flashed, and he pointed at the person in front of him in surprise. Hee, don't you recognize me? I'm the one from last time. That green-haired guy from last time. Su Yiyen silently accepted the child's words in his heart. He looked at him from top to bottom and carefully sized him up. Not only had this child dyed his hair back, but his hairstyle had also changed. It was no longer the blunt hairstyle that he had seen the last time. Instead, it had been cut diagonally in front of his head, making him look fashionable and bright. Without the smoky makeup, her facial features looked a little immature, but she had the advantage of being delicate and upright. The most important thing was that this child's skin was white, the kind that girls would be jealous of. Coupled with the white shirt and black pants, he did not look like the arrogant and heroic young man from before. He looked like a good boy with a white face. You. How did you? The impact of a non-mainstream and rebellious young man suddenly becoming sunny and fresh was so great that Su Yiyen did not react for a long time. Hu Qinhuan's face darkened. His intuition told him that this idiotic bastard was deliberately pretending to be obedient to attract his wife's attention. Chapter 646. Without the smoky makeup covering his face, Jiang Qinhuang seemed to be a little shy. When Su Yiyen looked at him like that, his face instantly turned red. And because his face was pale, his entire face couldn't escape the redness. In the blink of an eye, his entire face turned red. It was very obvious. Didn't you tell me that my hair was too ugly and that I dyed it back? I dyed it back. But after I dyed it back, it looked very strange with my original clothes, so I changed it into this look. Upon hearing that, Su Yiyan walked around Jiang Qinhuang in a circle and clicked her tongue in wonder. It seems that my aesthetic standards are still normal. Look at you. You've only changed your hairstyle and clothes, but your entire appearance has changed. With your current appearance, you'll definitely attract a lot of attention when you go to school, right? If you changed back to your previous appearance, it would be good enough if girls didn't avoid you, let alone take a few more glances at you. When Jiang Qinhuang heard Su Yiyan's teasing, his already red face turned even redder, like a tomato that could burn at any time. Su Yiyan looked at him curiously and blankly. Why are you blushing? I'm like this. I blush easily. After that, Jiang Qinhuang glanced at Hu Qinhuan and added with a strong desire to survive, I'm like this to everyone, not just you. Little did he know that his glance had a completely different meaning in Hu Qinhuan's eyes. As expected, this bastard had ulterior motives for his wife. He dared to be so coy and scheming in front of him. How bold. But last time you... Su Yiyan originally thought, you weren't so shy last time. You were very bold when you bared your fangs and brandished your claws. But then she remembered that when Jiang Qinhuang went to their house last time, the makeup on his face was so thick that she could dig out 1/2 kilogram of white flour. But although the makeup was thick, Su Yiyan still had a deep impression of his Chinibyu appearance when he wasn't wearing it. Could it be, don't tell me you're so shy that you purposely put on that non-mainstream look so that people won't notice your pretty face? Jiang Qinhuang was exposed. His whole body stiffened for a moment, but he still admitted to Su Yiyan's method and tried to save his dignity. Don't you think that, it's very cool? I don't think so. Su Yiyan was not stupid. She had already guessed the truth from Jiang Qinhuang's guilty and evasive gaze. He secretly sighed in his heart. Sure enough, you can't judge a book by its cover. This white lotus may be hiding a scheming B***tch under her skin. Similarly, some fiendish delinquents may also be a real white rabbit under their skin. When Hu Qinhuan heard this, she could not help but cough softly. She interrupted the conversation between the two and reminded, Yan Yan, old Master Jiang and Sister Jiang are still waiting inside. Let's go in first. After being reminded by him, Su Yiyan also remembered the important matter. She temporarily suppressed her curiosity about Rao and nodded. Oh, right, we're here to look for your sister. Jiang Qinhuang saw that Su Yiyan did not continue to stare at him. He breathed a sigh of relief and said, Grandpa and my sister have been waiting for you inside for a long time. Please. Su Yiyan nodded and pulled Hu Qinhuan inside. When Hu Qinhuan passed by Jiang Qinhuang, she coldly glanced at him, full of warning. Jiang Qinhuang. What was going on? Old Master Jiang was indeed waiting for the two inside. When he saw the two enter, his eyes lit up. He was about to approach them when he saw the two of them. But then, he saw the cold face of the son of an aristocratic family. What was going on? His face was so ugly. Could it be that his unfilial grandson had caused trouble again? Jiang Qinhuang. He was wronged. Chapter 647. Su Yiyan didn't notice the brief confrontation between the men. Her attention had been on Jiang Qingrun since she entered the room. How are you feeling recently? Pretty good. Jiang Qingrun seemed to be a little fatter than before, and her face was ruddy. In addition to the medicinal cuisine sent by Su Yiyan, it should also be because she saw the hope of recovery and her mood improved. It's just a little sore occasionally. It's not very painful, just a little. I don't want to get up. With Hu Qinhuan's experience, Su Yiyan could probably understand what she meant. She smiled and comforted her. This is normal. Your muscles are slowly recovering and you have feeling. This process may take some time. You have to take it slowly. I know. Jiang Qingruan's eyes were very bright. Compared with her previous ignorance, she preferred this kind of pain. This kind of feeling made her feel that she was still alive, not a disabled waste who couldn't do anything or feel anything. I'll give you another acupuncture today. Do you still have the medicine packs I gave you before? It's best not to stop the medicinal bath. It's fixed once a week. When your symptoms are better, you can stop. There are still a few packs. 1 pack a week should be enough for another month. That's good. Su Yiyan asked Jiang Qingruan some other questions. Then the two of them entered the room and treated her one-on-one. Hu Qinhuan and the Jiang family's grandfather and grandson were left outside. After a short silence, Hu Qinhuan broke the silence first. Is this child of yours still studying? Old Master Jiang was stunned. He really didn't understand why he asked this. He nodded stiffly. Yes, she just went to high school. High school. Hu Qinhuan pondered. It's a good time to study. Yes. Yes. At this stage, studying should be the priority. Don't always think about messy things to distract you. Old Master Jiang's eyes were confused. Messy things? Hu Qinhuan's eyes were slightly cold. For example, puppy love. Jiang Qingwang. Old Master Jiang. Puppy love? After a brief shock, Old Master Jiang raised his voice unconsciously. You're in love at such a young age? Jiang Qingwang almost choked. How is that possible? I've never held a girl's hand before. How could I be in a relationship at such a young age? Besides, I'm not in the mood to date right now. Old Master Jiang couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. Indeed, his eldest granddaughter's leg hadn't even been cured yet, so how could his grandson be in the mood to engage in love? Hu Qinhuan's face darkened when she heard what he said. She looked even more dangerous. You're not in the mood to date now, but you will be in the future. Jiang Qingwang thought to himself, nonsense, I don't want to be a single dog for the rest of my life. As long as my sister is well, I will definitely be in the mood to fall in love. Otherwise, am I going to be single for the rest of my life? However, when he saw Hu Qinhuan's inexplicably dangerous gaze, Jiang Qingwang wisely chose to remain silent. Sob, 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 so scary. Is he asking me to choose between keeping my life and falling in love? What enmity! Did I provoke you by falling in love? However, Old Master Jiang was a shrewd person. He quickly figured out the crux of the matter. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It's indeed wrong for a child to fall in love at such a young age. At your current age, studying is the most important thing. If you want to fall in love, you have to go back to school at least 10 years later. Chapter 648. 10 years later. Jiang Qingwang was shocked. That was too long. Old Master Jiang narrowed his eyes and said with a fierce face, what do you mean long? 10 years later is just right. You're not even fully grown yet you want to hook up with girls. If something really goes wrong, can you bear the responsibility? That's all I have to say today. If you dare to fall in love at such a young age or secretly mess with an adult girl's belly, I won't have a grandson like you. Pack up your things and get out of here. Jiang Qingwang. Falling in love is like collapsing. Is it necessary? It's really too difficult for me. Old Master Jiang also knew that his words were a little harsh, but he also understood that this was the only way to eliminate someone's wariness of his grandson. After all, a man's possessiveness was sometimes quite a scary thing. My dear grandson, you can suffer a little and fall in love later. Grandpa is also trying to save your life. As expected, Hu Qinhuan nodded his head in satisfaction after hearing what he said. 10 years later, this guy wouldn't covet his wife anymore. Maybe his and his wife's baby would be able to come out on its own. Su Yiyan didn't know that while he was treating Jiang Qingrun inside, Hu Qinhuan easily solved a fake love burden outside. The two stayed in the room for about an hour before coming out. Old Master Jiang wanted to invite Su Yiyan and Jiang Qingrun to gather together. Hu Qinhuan refused without thinking and quickly left Ji Rao Villa with Su Yiyan. As soon as Su Yiyan went out, he noticed that something was wrong with him. He blinked and asked with confusion and concern, "What happened? Did they make you angry? When you came out just now, you kept staring at that bastard. When he came, he kept staring at him. When he left, he still stared at him." Hu Qinhuan's stomach was full of jealousy and jealousy. Bastard? Su Yiyan was stunned for a few seconds and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You mean Jiang Qinhuang? Hu Qinhuan pursed her lips and said in a hoarse voice, "Last time, you looked at him because of his green hair." The underlying meaning was that he didn't have a head full of green hair today, so why was he still looking? The last time I saw him, it was indeed because of his green hair. Today, I thought it was magical at first. Hairstyles and makeup can really change a person. With such a big change, of course I couldn't help but take a few more glances. As for looking at him afterwards. Su Yiyan hugged Hu Qinhuan's arm and laughed. Do you think I can make money by signing him to East City? You want to sign him to your company? That's right. Don't you think he's pretty good looking? My company is currently in need of talents. Hu Qinhuan didn't wait for Su Yiyan to finish before interrupting her. It seems that you have quite a few artists in your company. Su Yiyan was stunned. She did not expect Hu Qinhuan to pay attention to this. Yes, there are quite a few. But it's too simplistic. Single? Yes, although there are many artists in my company, it's too simplistic. And most of them are in their early 20s, so the roles they take are limited. Like Luo Weibing, Ning Chirue, they are all okay now, but what about in 10 or 20 years? Su Yiyan paused here and sighed. Generations of people in the company walk their own path. The original position naturally needs to be replaced by generations of people. It's like a person who wants to live. It's useless to keep circulating without fresh blood. Chapter 649. The entertainment industry had always been a fast-changing industry. If there was a lack of new talent and cash flow problems, the company could declare bankruptcy. For this reason, Su Yiyan could only find more potential newcomers to ensure that the company could continue to improve. As the saying goes, learning is like sailing against the current. If you don't move forward, you'll fall behind. It was the same when it came to doing business. She didn't want the company that she was going to build to be a short-lived success in the entertainment industry. Su Yiyan was fine, but Hu Qinhuan's face darkened. It seemed that his potential love rivals were not only that brat, but also a male celebrity from a big company. Anyone who could become a celebrity, even if they did not have any other abilities, at least had to have a slightly better face. Hu Qinhuan was alarmed that his wife was surrounded by such a group of handsome men. Su Yiyan saw that Hu Qinhuan's face didn't turn better after he said that. Instead, it turned even uglier. He couldn't help but look a little confused. Did I do something wrong? No. Then why are you still unhappy? Hu Qinhuan was silent for a moment before he understood what he meant. Are you trying to coax me? Su Yiyan looked calm. You're unhappy. Of course, I have to coax you. Hu Qinhuan frowned. His intuition told him that something was wrong. Usually, it wasn't the man who coaxed the woman. Why was it the other way around? Su Yiyan was happy that Hu Qinhuan's attention was diverted. His face didn't look as ugly as before, but he still wanted to know why he was unhappy just now. But you have to tell me first. Why were you unhappy just now? Is it because I looked at Jiang Qinhuang a few more times and you're worried that I'll fall for him? I'm not worried that you'll fall for him. Hu Qinhuan turned to look at Su Yiyan. He had never doubted Su Yiyan's feelings for him, but, I don't like you looking at him like that. It's not just him. I don't like you looking at other men besides me. Not even my father, my brother, my grandfather, and my uncle. Except for family. Okay. Su Yiyen breathed a sigh of relief and teased, then I won't look at other men anymore. I'll only look at you, okay? Hu Qinhuan's tense body relaxed a little. He asked in a hoarse voice, don't you think that I'm too nosy? If you don't care about me, I'll be worried. You're right. I didn't do this. Finding artists should be left to Brother Junsheng and the others. Although I'm the boss of a company, I'm still considered an outsider. Whether or not they have potential, whether or not their looks pass the mark, and how they will be arranged in the future, we still have to bring them in to understand them personally. Su Yayan looked into Hu Qinhuan's eyes and said, I will call Brother Junsheng in a while and ask him to contact Jiang Qingwang. I just don't know what his intentions are. Also, I wonder if old Master Jiang will refuse to let him enter this circle. After all, the Jiang family was a rich family. They might not be willing to let a rich second-generation young master enter the entertainment circle and become a star. Hu Qinhuan knew that Su Yiyen was giving in for him. The unhappiness in his heart dissipated a lot. He muttered, if he's willing, the old master won't interfere. How can you be so sure? The Jiang family seems to have some wealth on the surface. In fact, old Master Jiang's son has been drinking outside these years. The woman he married later gave birth to a son, who stirred up trouble at home. Chapter 650. The current Jiang family seems to be well off, but in fact, it's weak on the inside. It won't be able to achieve anything. Only old Master Jiang can still say a few words in the Hu Corporation. Otherwise, this family would have been devoured by others long ago. Su Yiyen still didn't understand. But if that's the case, shouldn't old Master Jiang train this grandson well? Or does he prefer that woman's son? But after thinking about it carefully, she felt that it was unlikely. After all, the few times they met, old Master Jiang had brought the two siblings. Except for the neighbor once, he had never mentioned his son, the woman he married later, and their son. Thinking about it, he probably didn't like them very much. Hu Qinhuan frowned and said with disdain, he's too much. Too much. That sister of his can be trained. If he can enter your company, it will be better. Hu Qinhuan seemed to be a little worried that Su Yiyen didn't understand, so she added, entering your company means that he is under my protection. The woman next to old Master Jiang's son has something to do with Hu Qihan. Something to do with Hu Qihan? Su Yiyen was shocked. Do you mean that old Master Jiang's son supports Hu Qihan? Yes. If not for this, Hu Qinhuan wouldn't have approached old Master Jiang. With old Master Jiang around, no matter how his son was influenced by that woman, he wouldn't be able to set off any big waves. Su Yiyen also understood that the Jiang family's filial son was obviously not on the same side as old Master Jiang. If old Master Jiang really supported Hu Qinhuan, this piece of trash and the three stepmothers would ruthlessly control the Jiang siblings and threaten old Master Jiang to give in at the last minute. Jiang Qingrun was fine. After all, she was a few years older. When her leg was cured, she would at least have the ability to protect herself. On the other hand, Jiang Qingwang looked stupid and was very easy to deceive. After figuring out the reason, Su Yiyen didn't continue to dwell on it. She called Xia Junsheng to clarify the situation and gave him full authority to deal with it. As time passed, Hu Qinhuan's birthday approached. As early as half a month ago, Su Yayan had been secretly preparing Hu Qinhuan's birthday gift when Zhang Boqi started this matter. However, it was not difficult to prepare a gift. The difficult part was how to give him a surprise on his birthday. For the past few days, Hu Qinhuan had been accompanying Su Yiyen and was inseparable from her. Su Yiyen could not think of a way to send her away, so she could only ask her uncle, Gu Xiaoyang, and the others for help. After some discussion, they decided to come up with a reason to call him out of his house. Coincidentally, Qin Shueru was going to the hospital for a checkup. Qing Juanhao would definitely accompany her. After the couple arrived at the hospital, they simply called Hu Chenhuan and told him that there was no problem with their company and they urgently needed someone from their family to send a document over. The document was on the table in his room. He was now in the hospital with Qin Shueru for a checkup and couldn't leave. Could he help to send it over? Hu Chenhuan was free at home, so he naturally wouldn't refuse such a request. He immediately took the document and went out. After arriving at the company, he was stopped by several senior executives who had been informed by Qing Juanhao. He couldn't go back for a while, so Su Yiyan had time to arrange. Considering that Hu Chenhuan might come back at any time and their time was limited, Su Yiyan entrusted the decoration of the house to Aunt Fang and several servants at home. She went into the kitchen and prepared to perform well. Chapter 651. As for what to eat on a birthday, it was nothing more than cake, longevity noodles, and other delicacies that were full of blessings. Considering that the cake would take a long time to bake, Hu Chenhuan hurried into the kitchen and turned on the one-way recording function of the live broadcast. Hello everyone, I'm the host, Yan Yan. Today is my husband's birthday, and I want to prepare a special surprise for him, so today I'm only recording and not broadcasting. In addition, after this recording is released, 3 lucky audience members will be selected in the comments section to give gifts. The lucky draw date will be tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Those who are interested can participate. Although there was no live broadcast, Su Yiyan tried to explain the ins and outs of the matter as much as possible. The difficulty of making a cake was how to make the cake embryo smoothly rise. Su Yiyan used low-gluten flour and mixed in eggs and baking powder. Su Yiyan wanted to make a 3-layer cake, so he simply made 3 molds and baked them together. Fortunately, the Qing family's oven was big enough, so it wasn't difficult to bake 3 molds at once. While baking the cake embryo, Su Yiyan didn't stay idle and began to make other food. Now, let's make the wife cake that I promised you before. The filling of the wife cake is winter melon. As the name suggests, winter melon is made from winter melon. Peel the winter melon, remove the seeds, steam it until it's cooked, then use a blender to beat it into a paste. After that, filter the water and add sugar to stir-fry. After stir-frying, take out the pan and let it cool. In order to make the filling more fragrant, you can add some melon seeds and sesame seeds when stir-frying. Su Yiyan had steamed the winter melon while making the cake embryo, so now it was just right to take it out and stir it. After making the filling as quickly as possible, it was time to wrap the outer layer of the filling. In order to make the outer layer of the cake crispy and delicious after baking, 2 different kinds of dough were needed. One was called the oil core, and the other was called the surface layer. After wrapping the oil core with the surface layer, press it flat, roll it from the outside to the inside into a spring roll, press it flat again, and turn it into 3 layers. Finally, like rolling dumplings, the dough was rolled into the surface layer to wrap the filling. Finally, he brushed a layer of egg liquid on top of the wrapped pie and sprinkled sesame seeds to ensure that the pie was more beautiful and appetizing. It was indeed a little troublesome to make, but it was precisely because it was troublesome that the pastry inside would have layers upon layers after it was baked, making it thin and soft. Su Yiyan made dozens of wife-flavored biscuits and put them in the bottom layer of the oven to bake. Then, he wiped his hands and continued with a smile. Previously, when I was making dried yusyang shredded pork, I saw many of my audience members asking me if there were any similar dishes that didn't use this ingredient but had this name. Since everyone has asked, I'll take this opportunity to make a few more for everyone. First of all, the first ingredient is called husband and wife lung slice. This dish is amazing. From the name, you can tell that this is a dish developed by a couple. However, it's called lung slice, but it doesn't use lung slice. Instead, it uses beef scalp, beef heart, beef tongue, tripe, and beef. Husband and wife lung slice was actually a cold dish. First, these ingredients were braised and cut into slices. Then, a series of seasonings were added, stirred, and placed on a plate. Su Yiyen's knife skills were somewhat effective in making this dish. The thickness of the ingredients that were cut was even, and the plate was especially beautiful. In addition, this dish was tender and fresh, spicy and fragrant. It just so happened to be Hua Qinhuan's favorite flavor. When the time came, it should be able to gain the favor of the birthday girl. Chapter 652. In addition to the chili lung slice, there's another dish called saliva chicken. The so-called saliva chicken doesn't have saliva in it, but because of the spicy taste, it will make people's mouth numb and they will unconsciously secrete saliva, Su Yiyen said as she took out a yellow chicken that had been plucked clean and put it into the pot to cook. This dish is also a cold dish, so you need to cook the chicken first. But remember not to cook it for too long, or the chicken will become old and fall apart easily. After cooking for about 10 minutes, you can take out the chicken and put it into cold water to cool. This step is to ensure the tightness of the chicken and make its skin delicate and tender. After that, she added various kinds of sauces and poured them over the yellow chicken, and the dish was ready. The last dish is the vermicelli, called sautéed vermicelli with spicy minced pork. Of course, it's not eaten by boiling ants, but the minced meat inside is very minced. After being fried with the vermicelli, it looks like ants climbing on the vermicelli, hence the name. Sautéed vermicelli with spicy minced pork with ginger and garlic was not difficult to cook. After the vermicelli was cooked, the cake base was almost ready. Su Yiyen also started to make the cream to be spread on the base. Fortunately, the Qing family had a kitchen made with many kitchen tools, including an automatic mixer. When Su Yiyen used the blender to beat the cream, the base was also ready. Su Yiyen made the simplest fruit cream cake. After a layer of cream was spread, she mixed some fruit juice with cream of other colors and drew some patterns on the edge of the cake. Finally, she drew an especially big face on the top layer of white cream and wrote, "Happy 27th birthday to my husband." She also surrounded the cake with a circle of bright red strawberries, which looked very beautiful and had the heart of a young girl. Perfect. Su Yiyen clapped her hands with a complacent look. Oh, right, there's also the longevity noodles. Su Yiyen stared at the cake and slapped her forehead. She quickly kneaded another dough and began to make the longevity noodles. The specialty of longevity noodles was that there was only one strip of noodles in each serving. It was best not to break it when cooking, and it was best not to break it when eating. It implied a long life and a long life. This meant that the person who made this bowl of noodles had to spend some effort to increase the tenacity of the noodles, so that they wouldn't be overcooked before they were placed in front of the birthday boy. Su Yiyen pulled up the noodles as fast as she could. Just as she was about to find some ingredients to add in, she raised her head. Her mind suddenly went blank, and she subconsciously fell to the side. Just as her stomach was about to hit the counter on the side, something like an airbag suddenly popped out and supported her, preventing her from bumping into anything. The dizziness only lasted for a moment. Su Yiyen quickly reacted and reached out to hold on to the cabinet on the other side to steady herself. At the same time, a sharp mechanical voice sounded in his mind. Warning! Warning! It has been detected that the host is in a state of excessive fatigue. If this continues, it is likely to threaten the safety of the cubs. Please rest as soon as possible to restore your physical strength and ensure the safety of the baby. I repeat, please. Su Yiyen could no longer hear the rest of the system's words. She widened her eyes in shock, and only two words kept repeating in her muddled mind. Cubs. Was it what she thought it meant? Chapter 653. Su Yiyen was stunned for a few seconds before her expression suddenly changed. She asked in surprise and fear, System, what do you mean by that? I have a baby, right? I have a baby. How is the baby? Host, please rest assured that the baby is fine for the time being. It's just that the host's body is weak due to exhaustion, which is not conducive to the baby's good development. I advise the host to rest well during this period of time. Only by resting well can you better ensure the baby's safety and good development. When Su Yiyen heard the system's words, she felt relieved and a little scared at the same time. She reached out and touched her stomach, which had not changed. She thought about how she and Hu Qinhuan's baby was already in there, and she did not know about it at all. Just now, system, were you the one who protected me and the baby just now? There was no sound in her mind. Just when Su Yiyen thought there would be no response, she heard the familiar mechanical voice in her mind again. Yes. Su Yiyen's hands subconsciously tightened and she said sincerely, "Thank you." With such an episode, Su Yiyen naturally did not dare to stay in the kitchen and work anymore. Fortunately, all the things she needed were basically ready. The remaining longevity noodles could be cooked by Aunt Fang when Hu Qinhuan came back. Su Yiyen still found it hard to believe that she was pregnant under such circumstances. She touched her stomach and confirmed with the system several times. Fortunately, the system understood her excitement of being a mother for the first time and replied good-naturedly time and time again. Otherwise, it would have been on standby. After about 10 minutes, Su Yiyen's feverish head finally cooled down a little. She began to ask about the baby in her stomach. How old is the baby? The system gave a rough time. Su Yiyen calculated. It seemed to be the night she and Hu Qinhuan were at the top of the mountain. Su Yiyen's face turned red when she thought about it. Did she overdo it for a certain someone? They had only done it a few times from the time they officially consummated their marriage until that night, and now, however, she seemed to have thought of something and her eyes narrowed. Wait a minute, system. When Qinhuan and I were doing that, could it be that the system was practically hiding in her body now? When she was working with Hu Qinhuan, wouldn't it be able to see everything? Was there any privacy left? The system seemed to have been rendered speechless by Su Yiyen's question. After a long while, it finally replied. The system has an underage protection mode. When the host kisses his partner, the system will automatically mosaic the image of the system. If the host exceeds the limit, the system will enter dormant standby mode by default. So, your kissing is like a mosaic in my eyes, and everything below the neck is on standby mode. What do you have to worry about? Do you really think I'm interested in watching your disgusting AB-18 scenes? This system is still a baby. When Su Yiyen heard the system's words, he heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, he was a little confused. Underage? How could a data system be divided into adults and minors? Since its existence, the system has been in use for less than a year. Based on this, it seemed to be even older than that stupid dog of yours. No, it was an advanced intelligence system. Why did it have to be compared to that stupid dog? Perhaps the virus had entered its brain and caused it to lose its intelligence. Chapter 654. Although Hu Qinhuan had been invited to deliver documents to Qing Juanhao's company, it wasn't easy to fool him. The higher-ups of Qing Juanhao's company tried their best to buy time for their boss, but in the end, they couldn't keep him for long. Hu Qinhuan didn't stay for more than an hour at Qing Juanhao's company before he hurried back to the Qing residence. Even so, by the time he got home, it was almost nightfall. Hu Qinhuan furrowed his eyebrows when he saw that the room was pitch black without even a single light. He sensed that something was amiss. Did everyone in the family go out, or? Hu Qinhuan walked in suspiciously and cautiously. Just as he reached the living room and was about to turn on the lights in the house lit up. The lights in the room lit up first. At the same time, with a few bangs, beautiful ribbons and confetti flew toward Hu Qinhuan. In just a moment, they covered his head. Hu Qinhuan instinctively reached out to block them. His expression was grave and confused. When he took a closer look, he realized that many people had gathered in the house. Many of them were still holding confetti that hadn't been put away. The main culprits who had just sprayed him with black ribbons were these people. In front of them was a table full of sumptuous dishes and a beautiful 3-layer cake. You guys, before Hu Chenhuan could finish speaking, everyone shouted happily, "Happy birthday!" Birthday? Hu Chenhuan was stunned. Then, his expression darkened. He didn't feel the slightest bit of joy from being blessed. Su Yiyan seemed to have expected this. Before he could lose his temper, he hugged him and coaxed in a low voice, "Everyone's here. I'll explain it to you later." Su Yiyan's words calmed Hu Chenhuan down a little. Since there were so many acquaintances present, he couldn't lose his temper. He could only silently let Su Yiyan pull him to the table. There were not many people who came to attend this birthday party. Other than Old Master Cheng and Qin Shueru, there were only a few old men who came after hearing the news. After getting along for nearly half a month, everyone could be considered to be familiar with each other. Naturally, there was nothing taboo between them. As soon as they saw Su Yiyan pulling Hu Yao over, they couldn't help but tease, "Hu Zi is really lucky to be able to marry our Yan Yan." Yan Yan spent an entire afternoon cooking this table of dishes. It took him a lot of effort. Isn't it? Look at the cake in the middle of the table. I've lived for so many years, but this is the first time I've seen such a big and beautiful cake. The white layer on top is made of milk and eggs. It looks delicious. Old Man Cheng, why didn't you ask Yan Yan to make you a cake like this for your birthday? In the end, the new person has replaced the old. An old man like you is not as lovable as a young man. Old Master Cheng snorted when he heard that. His old face pulled a long face and he was very unhappy. He couldn't help but feel that the reason why Old Man Li had become his sworn enemy every day was not without reason. Old Man Li could accurately poke his Achilles heel every time, making him gnash his teeth in hatred. Just like this time, Su Yiyan held a birthday party for Hu Chenhuan and made him such a big cake. Although Old Master Cheng understood in his heart, he was very jealous in his heart. Old Man Li just had to point it out. He really wanted to pick up a broom and chase him out. Seeing that a good birthday party was about to turn into a family conflict, Su Yiyan really had to hand it to Old Man Li's temper. "I only learned to make this cake recently. If Grandpa likes it, I'll make you a bigger and more beautiful one after your birthday this year." Chapter 655. Only then did Old Master Cheng's expression lighten up. He turned to glance at Grandpa Li and snorted with a smug look on his face. Grandpa Li touched his nose. He was just used to teasing a certain someone. He realized that the timing wasn't right, so he didn't continue to talk back. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief. He reached out to hold Hu Chenhuan's hand under the table and intertwined their fingers. Hu Chenhuan was stunned, and his tense expression finally eased a little. Su Yiyan saw that he wasn't in high spirits, so he didn't force him to stay in the hall. After talking to a few people, he took Hu Chenhuan back to the house. The others didn't pay much attention to it. They just thought that the two of them wanted to talk alone and enjoy some alone time. They still had a table full of dishes to eat, so they didn't pay much attention to them. As soon as the door was closed, Su Yiyan couldn't wait to kiss him. Hu Chenhuan was shocked, but he reacted quickly and took the initiative. He had to admit that kissing could be used as a fire extinguisher sometimes. Of course, the premise was that the person who kissed him was also the person he liked. Otherwise, the fire extinguisher might turn into an oil barrel. After the kiss, Su Yiyan stole a glance at Hu Chenhuan's expression. He lowered his head and said softly, "I know you don't like to celebrate birthdays. Today's matter was indeed my own decision. If you're angry, you can scold me. Don't keep it in your heart." Of course, he couldn't bear to scold him. Looking at the hairpin on top of Su Yiyan's head, Hu Chenhuan sighed. "When did you start preparing?" "A week ago." Su Yiyan looked up at Hu Chenhuan. His slightly bright eyes were full of praise. "The decorations in the house just now, as well as the ribbons and firecrackers, were all bought by me. I also made all the dishes on the table, especially that big cake. I worked for a long time to make the patterns on it." Hu Chenhuan looked at Su Yiyan in high spirits. The lines on his face softened for a moment, but it was only for a moment. He was silent for a moment and continued to ask, "How did you know that today is my birthday?" "Uncle Zhang was with me before I came." Hu Chenhuan pursed her lips. Just as she was about to continue, someone knocked on the door. "Sister Yan Yan." "He's here." Su Yiyan immediately recognized Aunt Fang's voice. She hurriedly got up and ran over to open the door to take the noodles. "This is the longevity noodles I specially made for you. Hurry up and eat it while it's hot. It's going to burn if it's left for too long." Longevity noodles? Hu Chenhuan stared blankly at the bowl of noodles in Su Yiyan's hands. "These are birthday noodles. There's only one noodle in this bowl. Remember not to break it when you eat it. Eat it from the beginning to the end so that you can receive the blessing." Hu Chenhuan listened to Su Yiyan's superstitious rambling. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. Su Yiyan seemed to see his hesitation. She pursed her lips and said pitifully, "I saw that you were unhappy just now, so I didn't let you blow out the candles and make a wish. Now, at least eat the noodles. I've been pooping for a long time." Blow out the candles and make a wish. Su Yiyan was stunned. She suddenly remembered that most people in this era didn't have any special thoughts about their birthdays, let alone eat cake and blow out the candles and make a wish. When your parents were still alive, how did you celebrate your birthday every year? Hu Chenhuan was stunned. The hand holding the bowl tightened subconsciously. "They would take some time out to take me out to play. Then, we would have dinner together in the evening." Chapter 656. It was a simple itinerary, but now it was out of reach. It would never happen again. "It's okay. I'll be with you on your birthday. Next year, we'll have our baby together." Hu Chenhuan smiled and said nothing. Su Yiyan didn't force him. She reminded him, "Eat the noodles first. I have a gift for you." "What gift?" "I'll tell you after you finish the noodles." Hu Chenhuan stared at her for a long time. He was sure that she would only tell him after he finished eating. After hesitating for a moment, he picked up the bowl and ate silently. "Eat slowly. Don't stop eating." Su Yiyan was still a little worried when she saw him eating, so she reminded him. Hu Chenhuan didn't have much of an appetite, but he didn't eat much just now. Besides, the longevity noodles were meant for a festive occasion, so Su Yiyan didn't ask Aunt Fang to cook too much for him. This bowl was just enough to fill his stomach, so he finished it quickly. Su Yiyan saw that he finished the noodles obediently. She didn't continue to keep him in suspense. She mysteriously took out a gift box and put it in Hu Chenhuan's hand. Hu Chenhuan's eyes flashed. He opened the box and found a blue brooch lying inside. "This is the birthday gift I originally wanted to give you. It's a custom-made aqua blue 4-leaf clover brooch." The 4-leaf clover was also called lucky grass on ancient earth. Su Yiyan paused. She blushed slightly and smiled faintly. "No matter how much suffering and bumps you've encountered before, I hope you'll be more and more lucky and happy from now on." Hu Chenhuan touched the 4-leaf clover brooch in his hand, but his eyes were fixed on Su Yiyan. He smiled slightly and said, "Meeting you, falling in love with you, and having you is the greatest fortune in my life." Su Yiyan's face turned redder. While feeling sweet, she couldn't help but think, "That's because you don't know something else. Otherwise, you wouldn't be like this." Hu Chenhuan seemed to have thought of something. Her eyes flashed with anticipation. "Just now, was this the birthday present you were going to give me? Have you prepared anything else?" "Yes, there is another gift." "What?" Su Yiyan looked into Hu Chenhuan's eyes. After a while, she leaned over and whispered in his ear, "I'm pregnant." Hu Chenhuan's eyes narrowed. She didn't even know when the brooch in her hand had fallen off. Su Yiyan didn't hear Hu Chenhuan's response for a while, so the smile on her face faded a little. "Aren't you happy?" Hu Chenhuan suddenly woke up. Her face revealed a rare look of disbelief. What did you just say? I'm pregnant. It's been more than a month. Hu Chenhuan's entire body froze. After about 10 seconds, he stood up abruptly and began to pace back and forth. You're pregnant. You're pregnant. Su Yiyan was dizzy because of his pacing. She nodded again and confirmed, yes, I'm pregnant. Aren't you happy? I'm happy. Why wouldn't I be happy? You're pregnant. Why wouldn't I be happy? Hu Chenhuan paced a few times and finally calmed down a little. He suddenly squatted in front of Su Yiyan and held her hand tightly. I was so happy that I didn't react for a while. Seeing him like this, Su Yiyan finally felt relieved. She snorted and said, I don't know who didn't want to have a child so early because they didn't have enough time together. I was worried the whole afternoon because I was afraid that you wouldn't like this gift. Chapter 657. Hearing her words, Hu Chenhuan was also stunned. Thinking of what he had said at that time, he said with a guilty conscience, at that time, I also said to let nature take its course. You didn't expect to have a child so soon. Yes. Hu Chenhuan was still a little confused. He always felt that he was still in a dream, without any sense of reality. It was as if Su Yiyan suddenly wanted to marry him. Not only did he marry her, but he also had a child with her. This was the second time in his life that Hu Chenhuan felt as if he was floating on the clouds. It was very unreal. Are you really pregnant? Su Yiyan was amused by his repeated confirmation. She reached out and scratched his nose. Pretending to be angry, she said, can this kind of thing be fake? Are you going to be a mother? I'm going to be a father. Yes. Su Yiyan held his hand tightly and said with a serious face, it's been more than a month. It should be the time when we went up the mountain. Hu Chenhuan's face changed again when he heard that. He looked up at Su Yiyan. Could it be that your parents are giving us a hint? Hint? Hint that the past is the past, and we should start a new life? Hu Chenhuan stared at Su Yiyan. For a moment, he even thought that she had known something. You, Chenhuan. Su Yiyan interrupted him and took his hand to put on her flat belly. This is our future. I hope that you can love this child as much as your parents love you. So, let it go. No matter what happened in the past that made you sad, let it go. We will get better and better in the future, together with the child. Hu Chenhuan's heart suddenly trembled. Looking at Su Yiyan's face, some things that had been heavy in his heart seemed to gradually fall apart at this moment. Perhaps it was because she was pregnant, or perhaps it was because she had been busy for such a long time, but she finally got the result she wanted. Her tense nerves suddenly relaxed, and tiredness came over her. Su Yiyan had forgotten how she fell asleep that night. The next morning, in a daze, she seemed to see Hu Chenhuan get up. When she was about to open her eyes, she heard Hu Chenhuan's gentle coaxing. It's still early. Be good and sleep a little longer. Su Yiyan's eyelids couldn't be opened to begin with, so when she heard his words, she decisively fell asleep again. When he woke up again, it was almost 9 o'clock. Hu Chenhuan was nowhere to be found. She was not in the room. Su Yiyan yawned and washed up. Just as she walked out, she bumped into Qin Shueru and Qing Juanhao. When the two of them saw Su Yiyan, their expressions became somewhat subtle. He's awake. Yes. Su Yiyan felt goosebumps all over his back when the two of them stared at him. He touched his face in confusion and said gloomily, what's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? The two of you were quite intense last night. Ah. Su Yiyan was stunned for a few seconds before she couldn't help but exclaim, which eye of yours saw us last night, wasn't it? The couple looked at each other blankly. Last night, the lights were still on in your room in the middle of the night. From outside, you could see Qinhuan walking around in the room, walking around, walking around, walking around. The Qing family's house was a little similar to a courtyard house. Most of the windows in the house were transparent. At night, when the curtains were drawn, although one couldn't see what was going on inside, if the people in the house walked close to the curtains, the people outside could still see their reflections by the window. Chapter 658. Last night, everyone in the house dispersed after a while and went back to their own homes. Qin Shuiru couldn't sleep too late because she was pregnant, so she went back to her room after everyone left. Qing Juanhao noticed that Hu Qinhuan didn't look right at the banquet. He was a little worried when he went back to his room, so he waited for his wife to fall asleep and came out to check on their situation. In the end, he saw a figure walking around in their room like a hard-working bee. She walked around in circles for a long time, making him dizzy. Su Yiyan was also a little surprised when she heard Qing Juanhao's description. She automatically imagined Hu Qinhuan walking around in circles in the room after she fell asleep, but she tried her best to control her emotions because she was afraid of waking her up. She couldn't help but burst out laughing. It's not what you think. Last night, he was just too happy. The couple was silent for a moment and suddenly realized, no wonder. No wonder what? No wonder I saw that guy go out for a run early in the morning. I found it strange. It's 5 or 6 in the morning, and it's not even bright yet. Why would he run? So it's because you didn't welcome him last night. Ahem, I guess he was too energetic and held it in. When Qing Juanhao said this, Su Yiyan's face turned as red as a ripe apple. Qin Shuiru pinched him hard and reminded him, the child is here. What are you talking about? Qing Juanhao cried out in pain and also remembered. He hurriedly touched his wife's big belly and said, yes, yes, yes. Dad was just joking, just joking. Baby, quickly forget, quickly forget. Su Yiyan listened to Qing Juanhao's nagging and subconsciously touched the unformed life in her belly. She felt a little hopeless. This guy's first prenatal education class after being discovered was his granduncle's blatant nonsense. He better not be a womanizer when he's born. As they were talking, the person in question rushed in from outside. There were still some beads of sweat on his forehead, but his eyes were shockingly bright. You're up. When did you get up? Are you hungry? Why don't you go in and lie down? I'll bring you breakfast. I asked Auntie Fang to make your favorite seafood porridge and red bean buns. Hu Qinhuan seemed to have thought of something. She paused and asked nervously, can you eat these now? Su Yiyan was stunned for a few seconds before he finally realized that something was wrong with Rao. Last night, she felt that this guy's reaction was too dull, unlike those stay-at-home dads in TV dramas who jumped up and down with joy when they found out that their wives were pregnant. From the looks of it now, this person was simply slow by half a beat. Or perhaps he was stunned when he suddenly found out that she was pregnant and only came to his senses later. Su Yiyan was both angry and amused. It's not like I'm seriously ill. Why can't I eat it? Hu Qinhuan breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. I'll bring it over for you. No need, I'll eat there myself. Then I'll help you. Su Yiyan rolled her eyes at him. I'm not disabled. It had only been a little more than a month and he was already so nervous. Wouldn't he hold her in his arms for the next 7 or 8 months and not let her get off the ground? Thinking of this possibility, Su Yiyan couldn't help but shiver. She quickly threw this idea out of her mind. Qin Shuiru listened to the couple's conversation from the side and was really confused. She asked nervously, Yan, are you sick? Chapter 659. When Su Yiyan heard their words, she was also stunned. After she came to her senses, she chuckled and said, I'm fine. Where's Grandpa? The two glanced at Su Yiyan suspiciously, in the front room. Uncle, can you help me call Grandpa over? I have something to announce. Cheng Juanhao frowned. Although he was puzzled, he obediently went over to call Grandpa. When almost everyone arrived, Hu Qinhuan also brought a few freshly heated buns from the kitchen for Su Yiyan to fill her stomach first. Old Master Cheng was also at a loss when he was called over unexpectedly. Yan Yan, what happened? Actually, it's not a big deal. It's just... Su Yiyan swallowed the bun in her mouth and said seriously, I'm pregnant. The room suddenly became quiet. Qin Shueru and Qin Wanru, who originally thought that Su Yiyan was not feeling well and deliberately did not want them to worry, froze with worry on their faces. Old Master Cheng's eyes widened, and he could not react for a while. A few seconds later, Old Master Cheng was the first to react. He suddenly stood up, and the crutch in his hand fell on the floor with a muffled sound because of his movement. You're pregnant? Yes. Su Yiyan, who had seen her man's surprised and happy side last night, was very calm. She said with a smile, it's been more than a month. Cheng Juanhao and Qin Shueru also reacted at this time. They could not help laughing. You've been married to Qinhuan for more than half a year. It's time for you to have a child. Su Yiyan suddenly stopped eating the bun, and her face turned red. In the eyes of others, they had been married for more than half a year, but only the two of them knew that they really had sex more than a month ago. She was pregnant just a few days after they consummated their marriage. She had to admit that her man was also very powerful. No wonder she was so excited last night and got up early this morning to run several laps around our house. It turns out that it's because of this. If Cheng Juanhao hadn't mentioned it, Su Yiyan wouldn't have thought of it. She turned to look at Hu Qinhuan with a faint smile. Hu Qinhuan felt guilty under her stare, but she did not refute it. After all, it was the truth. On the other hand, Qin Shueru rolled her eyes at Cheng Juanhao, feeling both angry and amused at the same time. She said mercilessly, all right. To think that you have the nerve to make fun of others. When I was just pregnant, who was the one who got up in the middle of the night to lift a barbell? Do you really think I don't know anything when I'm asleep? Lifting barbells? Puff! Su Yiyan's too roused attention was instantly diverted, and the people who were being ridiculed also dropped one by one. Cheng Juanhao had never expected that his secret, which he believed to be infallible, had already been discovered by his wife. He had never expected that his secret would be exposed in public at this time. He had really lifted a stone and smashed it on his own feet. He regretted it so much. My wife. At least give me some face in front of so many people. Qin Shueru received her husband's pleading gaze. She smiled helplessly and turned her gaze to Su Yiyan again. Originally, I was worried that the baby would be all alone after he was born, and there wouldn't be anyone of the same age to play with. Now that Yan Yan also has a child, they can be companions in the future. Cheng Juanhao couldn't help but laugh when he heard her words. They are indeed of the same age, but I'm afraid that our child's seniority is a little high. Su Yiyan's expression became a little subtle when she thought about the seniority. It's quite high indeed. After marrying Qinhuan, it's the first time that so many people of the same age and even older than me have called me aunt. Chapter 660. She was already an aunt. According to Hu Qinhuan's seniority, the guy in Qin Shueru's stomach, who could be considered her cousin, would probably have a shockingly high seniority. Hu Qinhuan was caught off guard, and the expression on her face froze again. Because of this issue of seniority, he was always worried that Su Yiyan would despise him for being old. In the end, it was old Master Cheng who saved him. There's nothing wrong with having a higher seniority. At least, with a higher seniority, only you can bully others, but others can't bully you. The few people present were stunned, but they had to admit that the older the ginger, the wiser. Wasn't that the advantage of having a higher seniority? If they really quarreled with juniors of the same age, the one with seniority would always be the one at a disadvantage. Regardless of who was right or wrong, it was enough to disgust you if you were labeled as disrespectful to your elders. Just like Hu Qihan, when he hated you, he couldn't wait to kill you and cut off all contact with you. But when he turned around and needed you or wanted to criticize you, he remembered that he was Hu Qinhuan's brother. One moment, he called them brothers, and the other, he called them family. It made people uncomfortable all over. The few of them just casually mentioned it and didn't dwell on it too much. After Su Yiyan ate 2 buns, the hot seafood porridge was served. Su Yiyan took a sip of the porridge and then seemed to think of something and asked in a low voice, "You woke up early in the morning to run laps. Have you eaten breakfast?" Hu Qinhuan's heart warmed, and a smile appeared on her face. "Yes, I've eaten. It's okay. This isn't filling up my stomach." Su Yiyan picked up a piece of wife biscuit from the plate on the side and handed it to Hu Qinhuan. "Your wife made you a wife biscuit. Do me the honor of eating one." Hu Qinhuan's eyes flashed slightly, and there was a subtle change in the way she looked at the biscuit. Qing Juanhao and the others hadn't left yet. When they heard Su Yiyan's words, they immediately became interested. "This is the wife biscuit?" "Yes." Qin Shueru also picked up a piece and looked at it. "You made it last night?" "I don't think I saw this cake last night. I saw that there were enough things yesterday, so I didn't put them on the table. Also, this thing can't fill one's stomach and can't be used as a main meal. It's better to use it as breakfast or afternoon tea." Of course, the most important reason was that he was worried that his jealous lover would get jealous. It was fine if the wife pancakes were eaten by his own family, but it was better not to take them out. Qin Shueru nodded and accepted her explanation. She lowered her head and took a bite of the biscuit in her hand. Her eyes lit up. "It's quite sweet, and it's a little loose. The texture is not bad." "Really? Let me try it too." Qing Juanhao hurriedly took one and stuffed it into his mouth. Ever since Qin Shueru became pregnant, she had been eating a pregnant woman's meal and rarely ate these desserts. Qing Juanhao did not like to eat sweets, so he would not take the initiative to eat these things even if they were placed on the table. Because of Su Yiyan's words, she tried one. Wow, it was really quite delicious. Seeing that they were eating happily, Su Yiyan could not help but laugh. She handed the wife biscuit in her hand forward. Hu Qinhuan's eyes flashed slightly, and he leaned over to bite it. The wife biscuit was not big to begin with, so it was not a problem for an adult to eat one whole. After Hu Qinhuan bit it, he directly stuffed the whole thing into his mouth. Su Yiyan was afraid that he would choke, so she hurriedly poured a glass of water for him. Slow down, slow down. If you like it, I'll make another one." "Okay." Hu Qinhuan agreed, then shook his head. "Let someone else do it. You rest." Chapter 661. Su Yiyan was slightly startled. She thought of Rao's nagging not long ago and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "It doesn't take much to do this. You won't be tired." Hu Qinhuan was unexpectedly insistent. "Let them do it. You rest." Su Yiyan stared at Hu Qinhuan for a long time. Seeing that he was not joking, she had no choice but to compromise and appease her husband's inexplicably tense nerves. Hu Qinhuan saw that she agreed and subconsciously breathed a sigh of relief. Last night, he was so excited that he couldn't sleep. Not only did he walk around the room in the middle of the night, but he also checked a lot of things to pay attention to during pregnancy. One of them was that pregnant women shouldn't be too tired during pregnancy. The so-called tiredness was not easy to define. However, in Hu Qinhuan's eyes, anything that required Su Yiyan to do might tire her out. Su Yiyan guessed one thing right. If it weren't for the fact that Su Yiyan might be unhappy, someone really wanted her to not even get off the floor and let him carry her wherever she went. Qin Shueru listened to the conversation of the newbie couple and was also quite interested. "Qinhuan is right. You should pay attention to the first 3 months. You can't be tired. During this period, you'd better have a good rest. There's Aunt Fong at home. If there's anything you want to eat, you can ask her to help. You don't have to do it yourself. After that, she frowned and said regretfully, you've been sleepy for half a month. We thought that it was because of the changes in qi that made people lazy, so we didn't think much about it. Now it seems that you're pregnant and you're showing symptoms. Now that she reminded them, the others also remembered. Su Yayan felt even more guilty. Logically speaking, she should have known better than anyone else about the condition of her body. However, she didn't care at all at that time. She only thought that her period was coming. In addition, she always thought about what Uncle Zhang said before she left. She was focused on preparing for Hu Qinhuan's birthday and didn't think much about it. Now that she thought about it, her menstrual cycle had already passed for more than half a month. How careless must she have been to not think in that direction? Especially when she thought about what happened in the kitchen yesterday, Su Yiyan could not help but feel scared. If it were not for the system, she was afraid that she would have to live in guilt and regret for the rest of her life. The early stages of pregnancy are quite tiring. You've been running around a lot during this period of time. Fortunately, nothing happened. However, it was fine if he didn't know about it before, but now that he knew, he couldn't ignore it anymore. Listen to Qinhuan and rest well. Hu Qinhuan froze as soon as she heard Qin Shueru's words. Her joy at knowing that Su Yiyan was pregnant was instantly drowned by guilt. During this period of time when they were together, Su Yiyan was careless and did not realize it early on. As her husband, he did not realize it at all. In the end, it was his dereliction of duty. Su Yiyan could tell what he was thinking at a glance. She did not care about anything else. She held his hand and said softly, okay, I'll be obedient from now on. I promise that I won't tire myself and the child out. Don't be so angry. Smile. If you don't know, you'll think that you're unhappy that I'm pregnant. I'm happy. If you're happy, then smile. Hu Qinhuan, Su Yiyan saw a trace of speechlessness in her man's eyes. She smiled slightly and picked up another wife biscuit to feed him. Here, eat another one. Her original intention was to let Hu Qinhuan eat it and not mind. However, she did not expect that it would provoke the only lonely person present to complain bitterly. Poor old man. No one cares whether he ate breakfast or not. Humph. Chapter 662. The room fell silent again. Su Yiyan was still in the feeding position. He blinked and didn't know how to react to old Master Cheng's sudden resentment. Hu Qinhuan reacted in time. She picked up a piece of cake from the plate and handed it to old Master Cheng. She even flattered him with a strong desire to live. Grandpa, you're smiling. No one in our family can starve but not you. Yes, yes, yes. I didn't ask you because I thought that you don't like to eat this kind of greasy cake. If I knew that you liked it, I would have gotten it for you first. How could he have gotten it? Old Master Cheng's expression became better when he heard that. He gave Hu Qinhuan a look that said, at least you know what's good for you. He snorted arrogantly and took the cake in his hand. The two of them heaved a sigh of relief. They knew that they had passed this stage. Qing Juanhao almost couldn't hold back his laughter when he saw this scene. Who asked you to show off your love in front of old Master Cheng? You've hit the muzzle of a gun. Qin Shueru glanced at him warningly and changed the topic. She asked with a smile, have you told Shuqin and the others about your pregnancy? Not yet. I just found out yesterday. I'll tell them later. That's good. Your parents will be very happy when they know about this. Qin Shueru nodded and said, I have to go to the hospital in 2 days. You can go with me. It'll be safer for you to get a checkup. Qin Shueru's due date was approaching, and it was only a few days away. She was considered an advanced pregnant woman at this age. Her family was more nervous. They had booked the delivery room in advance and were prepared to go to the hospital early to wait for delivery, just in case. Although Su Yiyan had helped her nurse this pregnancy, there was a saying that went, a doctor doesn't treat himself. No matter how good a doctor was, if they were really sick, they would often have to ask others for help. Moreover, Su Yiyan wasn't a doctor yet. It would be safer for him to go with her for a checkup. Shueru is right. It's better to go to the hospital for a checkup. If there's really no problem, and you don't want to go to the hospital in the future, there's a detector at home. It'll be the same. When Qin Shueru was pregnant, Qing Juanhao was also extremely nervous. He even specially bought a table-type detector back so that he could know the physical condition of this one at any time. Now that Qin Shueru was about to give birth, this detector was no longer needed. It just so happened that it could be given to Su Yiyan. Su Yiyan knew that they were concerned about him, so he didn't refuse and nodded obediently. After they finished talking, they did not disturb her breakfast. They got up and left one after another, leaving Hu Chenhuan to accompany her. Su Yiyan was afraid that she would get bored and overthink things again if she stayed by his side. She told him to call her parents and tell them that she was pregnant. Cheng Xiuqin and the others were very happy when they found out that Su Yiyan was pregnant, just as Qin Shueru had expected. If Su Yiyan hadn't comforted him for a long time, Cheng Xiuqin would have wanted to book a plane ticket and fly over immediately. It wasn't easy to coax them. Su Yiyan finally finished this somewhat late breakfast and touched her stomach in satisfaction. Should we tell Uncle Zhang? Su Yiyan still had relatives to inform. Although Hu Chenhuan had an elder brother, it was better not to have Ing. Of course, they didn't need to inform him of such a happy event. Otherwise, he might think that they were deliberately showing off to him. After thinking about it, it seemed that only Uncle Zhang could inform him. Chapter 663. Hu Chenhuan was obviously thinking the same thing as Su Yiyan. After a moment of silence, she replied in a low voice, "I'll tell him later." Okay. Su Yiyan blinked, looking confused. She didn't know if it was her imagination, but she felt that when Hu Chenhuan said that, there was a faint hint of eagerness. Before Su Yiyan could probe further, Dun Dun walked in from outside, swaying its round butt. Su Yiyan looked at her dog Sun and chuckled. She scooped up the cub and happily rubbed it from head to toe. Dun Dun's dog face was dazed by the rubbing. It didn't know how to react and just let Su Yiyan touch it up and down. Su Yiyan was done rubbing it before she smiled and gave it a piece of bad news. "Baby, we're going to have a new cub soon. You're going to have a younger brother or sister soon. Are you happy?" Dun Dun? What the hell? It had just gone out for a walk, and there was already a demon competing with it for attention. Dun Dun, who had a strong sense of crisis, was about to struggle when its dog father grabbed it by the scruff of its neck and lifted it out of Master Rao's arms. According to the data, cats and dogs have bacteria on them. Dun Dun? Su Yiyan was also stunned. Huh? It's not good for the development of the fetus. Really? Yes. Hu Chenhuan nodded with a serious face and pointed out the main point. You should hold it less during this period. Okay. Poor Dun Dun, who had been favored for more than a year, was suddenly banished to the cold palace. The entire dog's life dimmed. Why? When that iron lump came, it didn't even lose its favor. This new demon had caused it to be banished to the cold palace. What kind of logic was this? Dun Dun, who had lost its favor so suddenly, seemed to have lost the joy of life. It missed its other half who was far away in a foreign land. There was no way he could continue living like this. Su Yiyan didn't know that her drama queen dog had already cursed countless times in her heart. Since Hu Chenhuan had already gone this far, she couldn't not cooperate. She could only apologize to Dun Dun in her heart. She would make it up to him after she gave birth to the baby. Su Yiyan went back to her room after breakfast. Hu Chenhuan watched her enter her room before she called Uncle Zhang. At this time, Uncle Zhang was also concerned about their movements. During the period when Su Yiyan was in the Qing family, he had called him several times and talked about their situation in the Qing family. Seeing that Hu Qinhuan's birthday was approaching, Uncle Zhang's heart was in his throat. The day after his birthday, he received a call from Hu Qinhuan. Uncle Zhang's first reaction was that his young master already knew that he was the one who leaked the news and urged young madam to celebrate his birthday. Whether Hu Qinhuan celebrated his birthday or not, he was afraid that he would be blamed. Uncle Zhang was already mentally prepared and didn't regret it. He took a deep breath and picked up the phone. Young master. Unexpectedly, Hu Qinhuan didn't immediately criticize him. Instead, he was silent for a long time before he said, I have something to tell you. Yan Yan is pregnant. The expected reprimand didn't come. Uncle Zhang was stunned for a while before he could digest Hu Qinhuan's words. Your young madam. Young madam, she, hearing Uncle Zhang's surprise, Hu Qinhuan couldn't help but smile. Yes, she's pregnant. It's been more than a month. Chapter 664. Thank you, thank you. Uncle Zhang's eyes were slightly red, and his voice was a little unsteady. Master and Madam will definitely be happy when they know about this. There was a long silence in response. Only then did Uncle Zhang realize that he had been overjoyed and said what was on his mind. Just as he was wondering how to remedy the situation, he heard Hu Qinhuan reply, yes. Young master. You're right. Uncle Zhang's eyes were hot again when he heard that. He found his voice again and smiled faintly. Is young madam all right? Do you need me or a few servants from home to take care of her? No need, I can take good care of her. Uncle Zhang thought about it and did not force him. Then you and young madam must take care of yourselves. Yes. Hu Qinhuan seemed to have thought of something. Don't tell Xiaoyang and the others about this first. This, I'll find a chance to tell them personally. Uncle Zhang suddenly realized that his young master had the vanity of a person his age. How could he not fulfill his young master's wish to show off this happy news to others personally? Okay. Don't worry, I'll help you and young madam keep this a secret. Yes. Hu Qinhuan replied in a low voice, his eyes flickering. And welcome, and thank you. Thank you for taking care of me all these years, and thank you for your concern and help. Hu Qinhuan hung up after saying that, leaving Uncle Zhang stunned on the spot. It took him a while to react, and he cried and laughed at the same time. Hu Qinhuan returned to the room after telling Uncle Zhang about Su Yiyan's pregnancy. At that time, Su Yiyan was busy drawing prizes for the cute fans in the comment section. After Su Yiyan finished recording the video, he set a timer. Last night, when they were busy celebrating Hu Qinhuan's birthday, the video was automatically uploaded. At a glance, there were rows and rows of sour lemons in the comment section. In order to give her husband a surprise, she broadcasted the video live. I'm jealous. Not only is there a wife biscuit, there's also husband and wife lung slice. You guys can show off just by making a dish. I'm convinced. I am a male, a PhD graduate from XX University, 28 years old this year, single. I'm in a hurry to find a girlfriend. I don't ask for much, as long as my wife can personally make me a bowl of longevity noodles every year on my birthday. If you're interested, please contact me privately. Everything I said is true. I don't deceive the old or the young. If you are not sincere, please do not disturb me. Su Yiyan was happily reading the comments when Hu Qinhuan came over. What are you looking at? I took a video of the cake making process yesterday and uploaded it to the website. I even agreed to pick a few audience members to give me gifts in the comments section. I was just reading the comments. As soon as Su Yiyan finished speaking, she sensed that something was wrong. She looked up and saw her man's dark face. What happened? Drawing and giving out gifts? Yeah. The food I made for you. Ah. That's right. Including wife biscuits. When Su Yiyan heard this, he finally understood why Hu Qinhuan was angry. Not long ago, he had joked that the biscuits were made by his wife. If he gave away the biscuits made by his wife to another man, did he want to be Hu Qinhuan's wife? Hu Qinhuan, who felt like he was being cheated on, could not tolerate it. Pfft. Su Yiyan understood this and could not help but laugh. After laughing, he put his arm around Hu Qinhuan's neck and comforted him. No, don't worry. The wife biscuits are not a prize. Chapter 665. Yesterday afternoon, after she finished making the wife biscuits, she thought of a certain vinegar, so she emphasized that the wife biscuits would not be part of the lucky draw. Those who were interested could try to make them themselves, or buy them from the store later. The same went for the longevity noodles. Considering that the noodles were easy to burn after a long time, they would not be part of the lucky draw prizes. Hu Qinhuan's expression became better, but he still frowned and said, "Let Aunt Fang help you. Don't do it yourself." The dishes that Su Yiyan made yesterday, including the big cake, were all finished except for the wife biscuits that were not brought out. After the lucky draw today, she would definitely make new ones and send them out. Hu Qinhuan's wife and children were the most important, so he was not willing to let Su Yiyan cook for them. Su Yiyan heard this and thought that there were only 3 audience members, so it would not take much effort to make 3 dishes. Then she thought of Hu Qinhuan's nagging and the danger yesterday, so she silently swallowed the words that were on the tip of her tongue and compromised. "Okay, I'll let Aunt Fang do it. I won't do it. I'll watch from the side and guide her. Is that okay?" Hu Qinhuan's expression became better, although he hoped that Su Yiyan would not even enter the kitchen. But he also knew that this was Su Yiyan's bottom line, so he hesitated for a moment and nodded. "Don't tire yourself out. You can put work aside. I'll take care of you. Not only do you have to take care of me, but you also have to take care of our baby." Su Yiyan looked at Hu Qinhuan and chuckled. "You're the pillar of our family. Take advantage of this time to work hard to earn money for our baby's milk powder. It's expensive to raise a baby." "Okay." Hu Qinhuan looked at his wife's calculating and money-grubbing manner and could not help but be infected. He began to imagine the scene after the baby was born. "When we go back, I'll ask Uncle Zhang to clean up a baby's room. Prepare the crib, stroller, milk powder, and diapers in advance. Also, tidy up the game room, there's no need to be so early. It's only been a little over a month. When we go back, it'll only be 3 months at most. There's still half a year left. Besides, you don't even know if the child is a boy or a girl. What if the child is the opposite of what you've guessed? What's there to worry about? What did you do when you brought the clothes for your aunt? Clothes are clothes, and rooms are rooms. You can change your clothes if you don't like them, but it's not easy to change the room after it's set up." Hu Qinhuan narrowed her eyes and said meaningfully, "Even if we don't consider this, there are still other solutions." "Anything else?" "Make another one." Su Yiyan was stunned. Her eyes widened as she looked at Hu Qinhuan in astonishment. What? "If we give birth to a boy this time, then we'll work hard and have a girl. If she gave birth to a girl this time, she would give birth to another girl. We'll prepare 2 rooms at a time. It won't be a waste." Su Yiyan was stunned by Hu Qinhuan's exorbitant demand. Who was the one who wanted to spend more time with her and did not want to have a child too early and share her energy and love? Now, one of them had just been pregnant, and he was already thinking about the second one. Men were really good at lying. Besides, how do you know if this baby is a boy or a girl, and the next one will be of different genders? Su Yiyan rolled her eyes at Hu Qinhuan and said with disdain, "You wish." It was impossible for her to have a second child, not in this lifetime. Chapter 666. Only 3 people were selected in the comments section, and the people who were selected were the luckiest of the luckiest. Soon the list of the 3 people came out. The corresponding 3 prizes were husband and wife lung slice, saliva chicken, and a miniature 4-inch cake. However, Su Yiyen would never have thought that this 4-inch cake would appear on Do Yi's desk. This is what the anchor made? Li Yu stood in front of the desk. He looked a little nervous. Yes. But this time it's a recorded broadcast, the second prize will be selected. It may not be made by the anchor. And this time the anchor seems to be specially prepared for her husband's birthday. The food is not a medicated diet. Maybe there is no way to verify it immediately. Do Yi's expression was uncertain, he didn't say anything. Li Yu's heart followed by half. No harm, next time pay attention. Li Yu was relieved, then his eyes couldn't help but drift to the cake on the table. That cake. Do Yi raised his eyebrows, he saw through his thoughts. You want to eat it? Li Yu's face was stiff, but he didn't refute. Obviously he was hit by Do Yi. Leave the cake, you go out first. Li Yu, who had been with Do Yi for a long time, couldn't help but show a disappointed look. Since the cake was left, he certainly didn't have a share. Obviously it was expected, but when the last hope was broken, he was still disappointed. One had to know that he had carried this thing all the way back, and the subtle fragrance that wafted out from time to time really tested his professional cultivation as a secretary. It almost caused him to lose control, forget his duty, and lay his hands on it on the way back. Do Yi looked at Li Yu's reluctance to leave. She turned her head 3 times to look back. His eyes were filled with interest. When Li Yu left the office, Do Yi reached out and moved the cake to the front. The fluffy bread was covered with a layer of white cream. Because of the hot air, the cream edge was a little melted. On top of the cream, there were 3 big strawberries, bright and fresh. It looked particularly juicy. Do Yi opened the box outside the cake, his eyes fell on the video on the desktop screen. It was playing Su Yiyen's video recording, and it had already reached the end of the video, where she made the longevity noodles. This part was edited by Su Yiyen. Only the process of making the noodles and the explanation of the longevity noodles were shown. She had cut out the part where she almost fell down. Since she wasn't the one who made the noodles, the video didn't capture the final product. It was only after the lucky draw that Su Yiyen asked Aunt Fong for the video she recorded after cooking the noodles yesterday and posted it in the comments section. Longevity noodles. Do Yi looked at the bowl of noodles in the comments section, deep in thought. For someone like him who was sentenced to death the moment he was born, wasn't longevity an unattainable dream? Thinking of this, Do Yi forked a piece of cake and put it into his mouth. Sweet, soft, delicate, exquisite, and warm. It was completely different from the food that a certain someone had made with ulterior motives. For a moment, Do Yi suddenly felt a little envious of that man. That man was deeply loved by his wife. She tried her best to make a table full of novel food, just to give him an unforgettable birthday. Chapter 667. Hua Qinhuan wanted to find an appropriate time to reveal Su Yiyen's pregnancy to Gu Xiaoyang and the others. But in fact, his eagerness to show off didn't allow him to wait too long. The next morning, during the weekly high-level video meeting, many people noticed that their boss had been absent-minded during the meeting. Originally, they wanted to briefly report the work at hand so that their boss could spend more time with their lady boss. But now, they suddenly became nervous. They were afraid that they would accidentally poke their boss's sore spot and unfortunately become cannon fodder. Just when everyone was trembling with fear that they would be caught doing something wrong, a familiar figure suddenly flashed by outside the camera. Then, their boss had a plate of exquisite snacks and a glass of freshly squeezed juice in his hand. It was Madam. The employees on the other side of the screen thought at the same time. This was not the first time that Su Yiyen saw Hua Qinhuan holding a meeting with his company's employees. Hua Qinhuan's company was run by Gu Xiaoyang and a few other backbones, so nothing would go wrong. But no matter how dignified a boss was, it was unrealistic for him to be absent from work for a month or two and ignore everything in the company. So basically, Hu Qinhuan would hold a meeting with them every few days to get a general understanding of the company's operating situation and to solve some important matters that they couldn't make decisions on. But usually, at this time, Su Yiyen would also come over to deliver some things, but she rarely appeared on camera. Hu Qinhuan also didn't like the company's employees peeping at his wife. But today, when Su Yiyen put down the snacks and was about to leave, Hu Qinhuan grabbed her hand. "Did you make this?" Su Yiyen was slightly startled. She quickly shook her head and explained, No, Aunt Fang made it. I tasted it and thought that you might like it, so I brought it to you." Although the people outside the screen couldn't see Su Yiyen's face, they could hear her voice. Upon hearing that, he instantly turned into a lemon juice. Although the young madam didn't make it herself, the dessert looked delicious. When other people were working, their wives would bring them food, ask about their well-being, and be considerate. When they were working, they only had cold nutrient solutions to accompany them. This difference, cough. Actually, it wasn't that big. It was just a short distance away. But how many wives like Madam could one find in this world? Sob, working so hard and being abused to the point that the single dogs shut themselves up. Hu Qinhuan's tense expression eased a little. She reached out to touch Su Yiyen's belly and asked gently, "Did the child disturb you today?" "The company executives. Children. Madam's relative has already given birth to a child." Su Yiyen was also stunned by her question. She immediately grabbed a certain someone's hand and rebuked, "What are you doing? It's only the size of a pearl now. Are you saying that you're making a fuss because you're afraid it'll hurt me?" Hu Qinhuan, the company executives on the other end of the screen, Hu Qinhuan, who had failed to show off and was instead despised, was embarrassed. She coughed lightly and was about to say something to remedy the situation when she heard a cry of surprise from the other end. "Child? Is Madam pregnant?" This cry could be said to be earth-shattering, and the company's exclamations instantly rose and fell. Hu Qinhuan straightened his face and raised his eyebrows a little. "Very good, this is the reaction I wanted." Chapter 668. Su Yiyen saw the change in his expression, but in order not to expose Hu Qinhuan, she had a hard time holding back her laughter. "Okay, you continue with your work. I'm going to eat something. I'm a little hungry." When Hu Qinhuan heard that Su Yiyen was hungry, he stopped showing off to his subordinates and got up to go with Su Yiyen. Su Yiyen blinked and asked in confusion, "You're hungry too?" "I'll eat with you." Su Yiyen couldn't help laughing, "No, I'm not a child. I don't need someone to eat with me. You have a meeting with them first. Business is more important." When the employees on the other end of the screen heard her words, they were jealous again. Mrs. Huo was really gentle, considerate, kind, and generous. She also cared about the overall situation. Why did Mrs. Huo like their boss? The jealous male employees counted their boss's 120 shortcomings in their heads. The more they counted, the more jealous they felt. Because even if their boss had 120 shortcomings, he still married Mrs. Huo. Oh, how infuriating! Hu Qinhuan had no idea how jealous his employees were of him now. Seeing that Su Yiyen insisted, he couldn't say anything else. He counted the number and let her go first. As soon as Su Yiyen left, Hu Qinhuan's expression changed significantly. He instantly became impatient. Several senior executives were also smart and immediately flattered him. "Mrs. Huo is pregnant. Congratulations. President Huo and Mrs. Huo are having a baby so soon. It's obvious that they are very close. Congratulations. Hee, the boss is amazing. If I remember correctly, Mrs. Huo and the boss have been married for less than a year. How many months has she been pregnant so soon?" Hu Qinhuan's expression became better, more than a month. She's just pregnant. She has to take good care of herself. They were all smart people. Seeing that Hu Qinhuan's attention was on Mrs. Hua, they were no longer as hesitant as before. Instead, they simplified the report as much as possible. He finished the report early and sent someone to take care of Madam. Hu Qinhuan was quite satisfied with this result. She gave everyone a rare gentle smile, scaring quite a few people. As soon as they heard that the meeting was adjourned, they immediately logged off without any hesitation. However, not everyone was so tactful. Gu Xiaoyang and the other two were still online. Hu Qinhuan glanced at the three of them and frowned. Is there anything else? Gu Xiaoyang chuckled. Young master, young madam's pregnancy is such a joyous occasion. Shouldn't we celebrate it? How do you want to celebrate? Of course, it's better to be happy together than to be happy alone. Yu Zian smiled shyly and said, young madam is pregnant. If young madam is happy, young master must be very happy too. Since you're so happy, can you give us some benefits so that we can share your good fortune? Hu Qinhuan glanced at him coldly and sneered. If all the good fortune is taken away by you, what about our baby? Yu Zian choked. He couldn't believe that his young master had learned the secret of arguing without anyone teaching him. Gu Xiaoyang was amused by this stupid teammate of his. How could he ask for benefits so directly? Didn't he deserve to be scolded? This guy had always praised young Madame Hua, but at this critical moment, he dropped the ball. Just as they were about to remedy the situation, Hu Qinhuan spoke first impatiently, everyone will get an extra month's salary this month. Yu Zian and Gu Xiaoyang looked bitter. What they wanted was not the money, but other benefits. Chapter 669. However, when they saw the disdain and indifference in their boss's eyes, they silently swallowed the words that were on the tip of their tongue. Fine, I'll give you a raise. It's better than nothing. Seeing that the two of them had given up, Zui Yanbai felt a little disappointed and decisively abandoned them. Young master, young madam is pregnant. Is there anything we can do to help? Hu Qinhuan pondered for a moment and said, help me find a few reliable books for pregnant women. Okay, I'll find them for you in a while. Hu Qinhuan looked at him with appreciation and said, when it's done, I'll ask the restaurant to send you some food. As the man behind the boss, Hu Qinhuan still had this privilege. After leaving such a promise, Hu Qinhuan went offline, leaving Yu Zian and Gu Xiaoyang dumbfounded. What was going on? They had done a lot of thankless work, but someone had coaxed their young master into giving him a red light with just a few words. Yu Zian's face turned red and he was furious. Why? Why did they get a raise, but someone got to get something from their young master? Why? Zui Yanbai glanced at the two of them proudly and disdainfully. Probably because of their IQ. Zui Yanbai immediately went offline after ridiculing them, not giving them a chance to refute him at all. Yu Zian and Gu Xiaoyang looked at each other and beat their chests and stamped their feet at the same time. They regretted it so much. Qin Shueru went to the hospital 3 days after Hu Qinhuan's birthday to wait for delivery. Considering that Su Yiyan was pregnant and couldn't take care of the baby, Qing Shuqin rushed over the night before. Hu Qinhuan accompanied Su Yiyan to do various checkups. After confirming that she and the baby were fine, she stayed in the hospital to take care of Qin Shueru. However, early the next morning, Qin Shueru suddenly had a stomachache and was sent to the delivery room. When Su Yiyan heard the news, she was really worried and hurried to the hospital. A few minutes later, Qing Juanhao and Qing Xiuqin were already waiting outside the delivery room. Seeing Su Yiyan coming over, Qing Xiuqin frowned and scolded, "Why are you here? Didn't I tell you to rest at home? You too, why did you bring her here?" Seeing that Qing Xiuqin was blaming Hu Qinhuan, Su Yiyan hurriedly defended him, "I asked him to bring me here. Auntie, giving birth to a baby is such a big matter. Even if I stay at home, I will always be thinking about it. I might as well come over and accompany you. Anyway, it's already bright, and there are still seats here. I won't be tired. Cheng Xiuqin still had a look of disapproval on his face, but he couldn't dissuade his daughter, so he didn't say anything more. Su Yiyan saw that she did not pursue the matter any further, and hurriedly changed the topic. How is Aunt? Isn't there still a few days before the due date? How can it be so accurate? It's normal to have it a few days earlier or later. This morning, she suddenly started to have pain. Fortunately, your uncle has been accompanying her in bed the whole time and sent her over without much delay. Is she okay now? How long has she been in there? She has been in there for a while. Your aunt isn't old and belongs to the elderly category. It's more dangerous for her to give birth compared to a young woman. If it's a little later and she really can't do it, she can only choose to have a cesarean section. Cesarean section? Unexpectedly, the one who had a bigger reaction to this was not Su Yiyan, but Hu Qinhuan. When Cheng Xiuqin heard his question, he thought that he was surprised by Qin Shueru's delivery method. He sighed and said, Shueru's body is weak, and this is her first child. It's already difficult to give birth. She doesn't have enough stamina. If necessary, she can only rely on external forces and have a cesarean section. Chapter 670. Cesarean meant to cut open the belly and then take out the child. Hu Qinhuan realized belatedly that carrying the child for 10 months was not enough. After 10 months, the child had to be taken out from Su Yiyan's belly. Thinking of this, his face turned as white as a sheet of paper, faintly showing signs of turning green. Su Yiyan heard his words and looked a little dignified. She sighed and turned her head to see her man's pale face. What's wrong? Why do you look so pale? Hu Qinhuan grabbed Su Yiyan's outstretched hand and said hoarsely, after giving birth to this one, we won't have any more. Huh? Su Yiyan was confused. Who was the one who wanted a second child? How long has it been, and you changed your mind? Hu Qinhuan pursed his lips and said nothing. Su Yiyan calmed down and thought for a while. Soon, he understood his concern and asked in a low voice, are you scared? We'll give birth to this one, and we won't have any more. In fact, if this child threatens Su Yiyan's safety, Hu Qinhuan did not want to keep it. In his opinion, no one was more important than his wife. But he also knew that if he really said this, the first one to disagree would be Su Yiyan. Su Yiyan could probably guess what he was thinking. He sighed and said, okay, I'll listen to you. We'll give birth to this one, and we won't have any more. Cheng Xiuqin sat aside and listened to his daughter coaxing his son-in-law. The corner of his mouth twitched slightly. He inexplicably felt that his precious daughter was carrying a baby in her belly and holding another baby beside her. However, it was also a good thing that his son-in-law knew how to love his daughter. Now that he saw how other people gave birth, he would know how hard it was for a woman to get pregnant and give birth. In the future, he would love his daughter more. Su Yiyan and the others were relatively calm. Although they were worried, they still sat on the chairs and waited patiently. Cheng Juanhao, on the other hand, was pacing back and forth anxiously like an ant on a hot pan. In just a short while, he had paced back and forth a few times. Su Yiyan was dazzled by his anxiousness. Uncle, you should sit down and rest for a while. If you keep walking around like this, you'll get tired. When Auntie and the baby come out, how will you have the strength to take care of them? Even though that was the case, when it came down to it, how many people could really stand aside and watch while the people they cared about were suffering inside? After pausing for a while, Cheng Juanhao couldn't help but walk back and forth. In the end, Cheng Xiuqin had to personally press him down on the seat before he stopped. Su Yiyan and the others waited outside for about 2 hours before there was finally some movement inside. The door of the delivery room opened, and the first thing that was carried out was a young baby. Cheng Juanhao immediately went to greet them. Are you a family member of the pregnant woman? It's a boy. Both mother and child are safe. Congratulations. Ching Juanhao's anxious heart finally settled down, and he hurriedly thanked them. The newborn baby's red skin was so fragile that it seemed like it would break with a touch. Ching Juanhao stretched out half of his hand but didn't dare to touch him. In the end, it was Ching Xiuqin who came over and hugged the baby. He said with a smile, "This child's face shape is like yours, and his eyebrows and eyes are like Xueru's. When he grows up, he'll definitely be a handsome man." Su Yiyan and Ching Xiuqin subconsciously leaned forward to take a look. They really couldn't tell how this monkey-like baby resembled her uncle and aunt. Could it be that these adults all had facial recognition systems? Chapter 671. The newborn baby had to be brought to the nursery for observation. The nurse did not stay outside for too long and left with the baby. Ching Xiuqin followed the nurse to escort the child over. Ching Juanhao, Su Yiyan, and the rest continued to wait outside the delivery room for Qin Shueru to come out. Not long after, Qin Shueru was pushed out. The anesthesia was not over yet and Qin Shueru had not woken up yet. Su Yiyan and Ching Juanhao went over to take a look. After confirming that she was fine, they replied to Old Master Cheng with the good news. Old Master Cheng was old after all. Su Yiyan and the rest were worried about him coming to the hospital to accompany him, so they asked him to wait for news at home. The moment he received Su Yiyan's news and learned that the mother and child were safe, Old Master Cheng's eyes turned red. For an old man like him, who wouldn't want to have more children to play with and play with his grandchildren? At first, he was worried that his daughter-in-law would be stressed and embarrassed. Later, he gradually became indifferent. He was also afraid that the two children would take things too hard and affect their relationship, so he didn't dare to do it. He thought that he would never be able to see his biological grandson in this lifetime. Who would have thought that there would be a turn of events and that his long-cherished wish would be fulfilled? Old Master Cheng wanted to go to the hospital the moment he received the news. Su Yiyan managed to coax him. They agreed that once Qin Shueru woke up, she would inform him immediately and ask him to come over to see the baby. Giving birth was physically taxing. Qin Shueru only woke up in the afternoon. After the anesthesia, she did not feel very well. "Where's the child?" Ching Juanhao had been by her side the whole time. When he heard her question, he immediately held her hand and said, "Sister is watching. If you want to see him, I'll get her to bring him over later." Qin Shueru heaved a sigh of relief and asked curiously, "Is it a boy or a girl?" "It's a boy." "A boy?" Qin Shueru was a little surprised and a little disappointed. When sister was pregnant with Yan Yan, the child was very energetic. "I thought it was a girl." Ching Xiuqin guessed that Qin Shueru was about to wake up. She walked over with the child in her arms and overheard their conversation. She couldn't help but laugh and say, "How can that be accurate? In the end, it still depends on fate. Could it be that you don't like boys? Then our baby will be sad. Look at how much he resembles you and Junhao." Qin Shueru was just saying it casually. How could she not like her own baby? Hearing Ching Xiuqin's words, Qin Shueru curiously turned her head and looked over. She moved her body and wanted to lean over. Ching Xiuqin was afraid that she would pull on her wound, so he hurriedly said, "Don't move. I'll carry it over for you. There's no rush." When Qin Shueru heard this, she did not move anymore and watched helplessly as she placed the child beside her pillow. This guy had just been born not long ago, and his eyes were still closed. It was unknown whether he was sleeping or temporarily unable to open his eyes. Qin Shueru looked at this thing and felt her heart soften. When Su Yiyan and Su Yiyan heard the commotion outside, they immediately called Old Master Cheng. Old Master Cheng had probably been thinking about this matter the whole time, so he hurried over. As soon as she entered the room, she asked Qin Shueru with concern, "How are you feeling? Are you all right?" After getting an affirmative answer, she shifted her attention to the child. Looking at the baby in the cradle by the bed, she hurriedly praised, his eyebrows and eyes look like Shueru's, but his mouth and nose look more like Junhao's. He picked the two of you to grow up in. What a smart guy. Su Yiyan looked surprised and amused. My mother is like this, and so are you. It looks like it can't be wrong. Chapter 672. When Qing Xiuqin heard Su Yiyan's words, he misunderstood that she thought that the child did not look like Qin Shueru and did not look like the two children. What's wrong? One look and I can tell that this child is your uncle and aunt's biological child. I followed the child all the way from the delivery room to the nursery. I also watched him all the way. How could you have mistaken him for someone else? Su Yiyan was embarrassed and said helplessly, Mom, that's not what I meant. I'm just curious. This child is so young and his features are not even fully developed. How can you and Grandpa see any resemblance between him and uncle and aunt? The moment Su Yiyan finished speaking, Qing Xiuqin rolled his eyes at her. What does a child like you know? You don't have any eyesight at all. What can you see? Su Yiyan. Mom, I'm not a child anymore. I already have my own baby. The corner of Su Yian's mouth twitched. She turned her head and threw herself into her man's arms. She sighed and said, Sure enough, now that I have a cousin, I'm no longer the prettiest baby in this family. My mom has never despised me in the past. Hua Qinhuan played along with her performance and reached out to touch her head. She smiled and said, I won't despise you. Never will. What who? Before Qing Xiuqin could say anything, old Master Cheng had already scolded her jokingly. No matter how many children there are in the family, in our eyes, you will always be the most precious one. Qin Shueru also echoed, Isn't that so? When I heard that it was a boy, I felt that it was a pity. I was afraid that this boy would be too mischievous and Junhao and I wouldn't be able to take it. Girls are more obedient. When Qing Xiuqin heard this, she could not help but laugh. Actually, it's the same whether it's a boy or a girl. You have a good personality. If this child takes after you, he will definitely be obedient. If he takes after Junhao, then it may not be so. They're both nephew and uncle. Our Yushuan's personality is just like Junhao's. At that time, he was so naughty that even I felt embarrassed. Su Yushuan, who was suddenly mentioned. Don't cue me for no reason. Please let me be beautiful alone, thank you. Sis. Qing Junhao was a little depressed when he was suddenly dissed. You're a father after all. Save me some face. Everyone present was amused by Qing Junhao's words, and the ward was filled with laughter. Qin Shueru had just woken up and her energy was limited. Furthermore, after the anesthesia wore off, her body was definitely not feeling well. After a few words, she was already exhausted. Unfortunately, she couldn't eat anything at this moment, so she could only try her best to conserve her energy and slowly endure it. Qing Junhao could not share her burden, so he could only sit beside her and accompany her silently. Su Yiyan was worried that Hua Qinhuan would continue to stay in the ward and explode when he saw Qin Shueru like this, so she brought him home with the old master. Qing Xiuqin stayed behind so that the two of them and the children could help them if they needed anything at night. Although Su Yiyan had the foresight to leave with Hua Qinhuan in advance, everything in the hospital still had a certain impact on her. For a long time after that, Hua Qinhuan was overly worried about her, causing Su Yiyan to not know whether to laugh or cry. Because of the C-section, Qin Shueru rested in the hospital for a whole week before returning home. After that, she ate all kinds of nourishing food. After a month of confinement, not only did Qin Shueru eat until her face was rosy, even Qing Junhao had gained a few pounds from eating. Su Yiyan also wanted to eat, but unfortunately, she started to have morning sickness from the second month. After a month, not only did she not gain weight, she even lost a few pounds. Hua Qinhuan was so anxious that her mouth was bubbling. Chapter 673. Fortunately, this situation didn't last for too long. After suffering for about a month, she slowly recovered. The news that the current head of the Qing family finally had a child of his own quickly spread through the upper echelons of society. Many people were surprised, but they were also curious about this matter. They began to secretly inquire about the Qing family. Some of the Qing family's business partners and friends even called Old Master Qing. Old Master Qing dealt with a few groups of people. Although he was proud of himself, he was also a little annoyed. He decided to take advantage of the child's 1-month-old celebration to hold a large-scale banquet and invite all his relatives, friends, and business partners to officially announce the existence of this child. The Qing family's success attracted a lot of attention. For this banquet, the Qing family specially booked a huge venue and decorated it with an ocean-themed fantasy kingdom with an azure background. It matched the family's name, Qinghaijiu. At 6:00 on the night of the celebration, the invited guests arrived one after another. Su Yiyan wasn't the main star of this banquet. She was pregnant, so she didn't welcome the guests with Qin Shueru and Hu Jinyao. Instead, she pulled Hu Qinhuan to a corner and looked at Old Master Cheng, who was in high spirits because of the compliments from his old friends. Qing Juanhao and his wife were all smiles as they greeted the guests. This guy had been raised for a month. Although he was still a puppy, he didn't blush like a monkey like before. His white and chubby face coupled with his big black grape-like eyes was very cute. Especially when those eyes looked at you, Rao Xian couldn't help but soften a little. She couldn't help but want to give him all the good things. This guy wasn't afraid of people. He didn't cry even after being hugged by Qin Shueru. Occasionally, he would smile happily and show his bare teeth to the guests. Are you hungry? Hu Qinhuan pushed a plate of snacks in front of Su Yiyan, ready to feed her at any time. Most of the food at the banquet was prepared by Auntie Fang and the servants at home. Because of this, Hu Qinhuan was relieved to let Su Yiyan eat. Su Yiyan rolled her eyes at him. I just had a bowl of porridge. How could I be hungry so soon? Su Yiyan couldn't help but rub her chin. Perhaps it was because she had lost a few kilograms of morning sickness, but recently, her morning sickness had not been so severe. Hu Qinhuan and her family had been feeding her as much as they could. They wished they could raise her like a pig and feed her 7 to 8 meals a day. Now that you're eating 2 people's tonics, you should definitely eat more. Auntie used to eat like that too, from 5 to 6 meals a day. She's eating less and more, eating less for every meal. Unlike me, I eat so much for every meal. Look at my stomach. It hasn't been long, but I've already put on so much weight. Put on so much weight. Hu Qinhuan's eyes flickered. He reached out to touch it. Let me see. Su Yiyan blushed. She quickly grabbed his hand and gave him a cold look. There are so many people here. Their attention isn't on us. Hu Qinhuan used the table as a cover to touch Su Yiyan's stomach. I think it's big 0. Our baby has grown up. Su Yiyan was angry and amused at his words. How big could a 2-month-old baby be? Her stomach was obviously fed by them. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.